Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Pylon Show, episode 106. Arguably, going to be the best hosted Pylon show of all time, but probably not, because I'm kind of useless. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name's Kyle Laris, and I've got Rotterdam, Wardy, and Mana here with me here for this EU edition of episodes. I thought, at the beginning I was going to, introduce everything with different European languages, but then I realized I'm British and I'm useless and I don't really know many at all anyway. Let's start things off with Roddy. How you doing, friend? I see you just came off the back of an immense winning session spree.
Yeah, well, before 11 p.m., a lot of us can win some ladder games in Europe, James, because everybody that knows how to build workers is still asleep. But yeah, I just thought I wake up early. I've had an absolute wasteman schedule for a week because I started watching a new show on Netflix, like D100, and it sucks, but I'm addicted. I can't stop watching. So it's like 7 episodes a night, and I go to bed at 6 a.m., and I hate myself because I feel useless. But today I woke up early, and I'm feeling good. I'm ready for a Pylon show hosted by you, James. What a joy.
Nice. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think that's the way to describe it. Wardy, how you doing, friend? You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I've also been living the DGen schedule, so I feel ready. Also woke up early today. 10 a.m. was a real accomplishment. So
Same. 9:30, baby. I was like, yes.
me too. I was like, I'm so happy with myself.
Oh my god. All right, and Mana, of course. Are you living the DGen life or are you living the healthy pro gamer super god life?
I had to leave the DGen live for one day when I was playing the ESL NA, and I was playing up until 6 a.m. But I'm back to normal schedule, waking up at 10 a.m. So good esports life.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, gentlemen, brilliant start. We are going to take a look at this week in StarCraft to get things going first. And we've got a lot to go through if my mind recalls, because this week in StarCraft usually takes about 7,000 hours. So where do I even begin with this? Because this is my first time doing this.
Well, they're labeled, James. There are numbers. And you start with the first number and then you work your way down.
Numbers. All right, wait a minute. They're saying something on Discord.
Wow. The great PUBG host is falling apart on the Pylon show.
No. I have this open. All right. Do they? Wait a minute. Okay. Do you guys change the scene or do I go through them myself?
Here's the thing. Like, I basically react to what you do.
Whatever.
So you
All
call
right,
the
let's start
slide,
with the
I hit the
things.
button. You're good to go.
Okay. First things
Pretend
first.
it's magic.
Topics from the Templar archives. We've got plenty of upcoming events for you guys that we're going to be running through. Obviously, the ESL Cups is always a thing. We've got the Africa TV Star League Season 10 coming up as well. And actually, interestingly, I actually even got to catch some of those lately in terms of the group stages. So that was fun. Even though I'm not really watching that much StarCraft 1 myself, but that is cool. We've got some DreamHack StarCraft Masters qualifiers for fall, even though I think that's winter, correct? And then Underdogs Season 3 for 2020, apparently. So, all right, let's move on to the ESL Open Cups that are coming up. Guys. What's wrong?
Well, aren't we supposed to have some input as well, James? Like, you bring up a subject, we go back and forth.
Amazing week of StarCraft. That's for
sure. This is the first slide. That was an overview. Guys.
Okay.
All
right. Let's talk about the ESL Open Cups then, I guess. Obviously, continuing on, we got Big Gabe winning loads. But Mana, recently, somebody's been kind of angry and joined the ESL Open Cups in Europe. What do you think about that?
Well, Cyril is quite upset, I think. And he's going to start joining the ESL Open Cups. And I think that we're all doomed when we are on the other side of the bracket. It's fine because maybe you can get to the finals and get the 5 points. But if you meet him before that, then maybe you can get $50 to get to the semis like I did once. So that's all we can get right now. And with the Big Gabe as well in there, Rainer participating from time to time, it's basically going to be like DreamHack every weekend.
And the kicker is that it wasn't even Cyril that eliminated Big Gabe. It was Clem. Rotterdam. The ESL Open Cups in Europe are becoming stacked as hell.
Yeah, they've actually been super fun already for quite some time because obviously you can just focus on the final result and that is Hero Marine winning until Raynor or Sero plays. But, up to that point, there've really been a lot of very cool stories. I think, like, for instance, the rise of Max Pax, I feel like really kind of goes to show what he's capable of in those weeklies. Like, he had a couple sick PvPs against guys like Skillers and Showtime. So they've been really fun. I'm very happy that Sero participated because I don't know how you guys feel about this. Man, a couple months ago during a stay-at-home story cup, I said that I think it's important for Sero to play in these once in a while. I'm not saying he has to play every week, but I think it's important for Sero to make sure that he still gets tested in a tournament environment. Because if you play nothing besides the DreamHacks, then how do you really get ready for a Clem or a Hero Marine in like a big best of 5? I know he hasn't lost to Gabe, but like Raynor and Clem, they still play a lot of tournaments. So like tournament series are always a bit different, I think, than custom games and ladder. So I don't think Sero needs to play every week, but I think it's really beneficial for Sero to once in a while put himself in a tournament environment and just get those best of 3s, best of 5 series out of his way. But I don't know. I think that's important. Otherwise, I think you can get not rusty in a way as like washed up, but it's just a different experience.
I agree. Like you said, not every week. You don't have to play that. But I think especially now that Sero has been losing more and more serious, not like just dropping max, but serious as well. I think it's important to get into the rhythm of tournament play. And people are starting to get better in the game and they start to exploit the Sero's weaknesses. And Raynor is becoming the Sero right now. So I think he needs to step up the game. He's obviously still one of the very best. And there's no denying that. But yeah, I think if he starts competing in the ESL Open Cups, he's going to benefit everybody because the level is going to increase. And obviously, while we want to win some money and some points as well, I think it's just going to be very good practice to expect Sero there.
And it will even benefit Wardy. I mean, Wardy always claims the Sero series, so Wardy ends up with 5K viewers. He's like, all right, guys, Sero needs a break. I'm going to play some ads, not through it all. Sero's like, go, go, go in the lobby. Yeah, Wardy.
Mate, I said to the admin said, Roddy wants the Sero series. I was like, oh, I wanted that one too, but it's okay. And the admin's like, no, Wardy, you can put your foot down if you want to. And I didn't say anything else. And then he comes back, he says, you've got the Sero one. And I'm like, okay, like I mean, like
No,
I guess so. I mean, I can't help my Twitch chat, Roddy. They want to watch Cyril beat some guy in the round of 64.
Mate, it was worse for me. Like, no, I did the round of 64 Sero game, and there were like 3 really fun series between like 6.2k guys duking it out with each other. I was like, oh, I'd love to see that. They're like, no, please show Cyril, Roddy. I was like, guys, he's playing Phantasma, a 5.2k Terran. They're like, please show Cyril. It's always fun. I'm like, this is not fun. Like, would you guys want to watch Conor McGregor beat up a 4-year-old kid? Because this is the equivalent of it in StarCraft 2. They're like, no, please, Sero's always awesome. I'm like, all right. And to be honest, to Phantasma's defense, he did open up with Hellions. He killed 4 drones. I'm like, oh my god. And well, those were the last 4 units he killed in the best of 3, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, so the Wardy Mafia holding people down on the Serral series. Amazing. All right, so yeah, I think in the future as well, like the fact that we see Clem in there too, at the very top going up against Serral in the finals, I think is fantastic for the cups. So that's going to be good. We got our NA Cup as well. Special was able to win that out against Mana. Mana, what are you doing over there?
Trying to gather points. I am 1 point behind Marine Lord right now. And I'm like number 9 on EU, I think. And Marine Lord is number 8. And seven Europeans go to the Katowice finals. So I need to gather every single point I can.
Damn. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, you beat Pine 3-1 as well. Nice. How was that?
Your PvP is really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's good, but it's also been... I think I have lowered a little bit in the skill of PvP because PvP has changed drastically right now, like over the past month. It's becoming much more macro focused and late game heavy rather than timing oriented, where you can kill the guy with one single timing, which was my strongest asset, I would say. So yeah, I'm trying to relearn PvP. That was a cool series, but I think both me and Parting have played quite sloppily. For me, it was like 4 a.m. So I definitely didn't play my best. And Parting, I just got lucky a couple of times. Like one of my proxies worked, and then a lot of like miscontrol from his side. So I'm happy to win, of course, but it's not like, oh, I'm so much better than Parting right now.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's move on then and breeze through our this week in StarCraft. I say breeze through. It's not going to be a breeze. The Africa Team League Star League Season 10. You see, guys, I was just doing the overview. I wasn't doing the actual slides. It's fine. So we had Rush and Lava getting through in Group C and Group F. I think already played actually because I watched this group. So that was, I think, Sharp went out, even though he was
Wow.
looking all right.
So you're telling me that even the guys who work on the pilot show don't care about Brood War? Because yeah, you're right. Like it says September 22nd. That's 3 days ago. So, all right, let's look it up. This is my moment to look like a Brood War expert. Let's see who won here. So no, I've got nothing to say, James. I don't watch Brood War, unfortunately, unless Scarlet is playing some show match. I do enjoy watching Scarlet play some Brood War.
Yeah,
That's the
fair,
only
fair.
thing.
All right, more. Let's move on. We've got 2020 Global StarCraft 2 League Season 3. We had TY and Armani getting out of Group A, which is nice. And Group B, did that play or is it about
No.
It's
No.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tonight. Play tonight.
Tonight.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay.
Tonight?
It's
Yeah, it's
tomorrow
like-
for
it's like
Europeans.
5 a.m. or something for us.
Yeah.
So I call it tonight.
Is
Oh,
this the
okay.
Armani dream run? All things considered, is Armani making it
I
happen?
mean, Armani's been really good for ages, man. Like he deserves a GSL run. Like I think he got a pretty good group here. I think Dream's really, really scary, but obviously he just didn't show up today. But like otherwise I think Armani can obviously take down Zaun and he put up some good games. And I think Armani really has just been consistently good. Like he's never been like, gonna win a GSL, right? But he's always taking maps off the best players. Like he doesn't go into an online cup and you're not like, oh, Armani's about to get 2-0'd because he has like a winning record against TY this year. Even he was like 5-0 against TY for GSL. So
And that's
it's,
his first round of 8, right? I think.
yeah, it's his first round of it. I think this was his first round of 16
Yeah,
as well.
first round of 16. Yeah.
So
Well, that's a good
yeah,
round
he's
then
having a
for
bit
him.
of a run.
I don't know about you guys.
In round of 8 though. Go on, Rano.
Yeah, probably in my opinion. But Wardy is making me believe otherwise, maybe. But I still think he's gonna get bopped. Like when I saw these groups, I was like, okay, Group A, whatever. Like I'll watch it. I'll see what happens. TY is probably gonna advance, and he did. Bit surprised about Armani, but great job to him. But I think the next 3 groups are all killer groups. Like they're so fucking fun. It's been a while since I looked at a round of 16 in the GSL, and I'm like, yeah, like
Yeah.
B, C, D. I don't even know what I prefer, man. Like I know a lot of people talk about Group C like being the sickest group ever, but look at Group D, like especially with the way the Trap has been playing this year as well. I think Group D is like arguably even stronger than Group C, and I can't wait. I think all 3 groups are amazing.
I think if Rogue finally shows up, like not in the fashion that he sometimes likes to just lose the games in a weird way. If Rogue shows up in a good form, that's going to be a killer group for sure. I think these guys are in such good forms. I don't think we've seen much of Dark, right? He's basically playing only GSL, but
Yeah, but he's
Dark is
fucking
still
good.
the best.
He
Yeah.
actually shows up in the team championship, and he looks okay, but he doesn't look unbeatable. Obviously it's hard to say when he's playing like something online that's a bit.
But that's still best
low-key.
of ones, right?
Best of 2s.
Best of 2, so I mean it's still
Yeah.
slightly different.
No, I don't disagree. I think it's I think the interesting thing about that group is that I think innovation is really good in TVZ, especially against Dark lately. Like he just makes Dark look a bit silly, but then Trap kind of makes innovation look a bit silly,
Yeah.
So it's like there's a real like sort of like triangle of who beats who for me.
Yeah, because the Zergs can beat Trap, Trap can beat Inno, and Inno can probably beat the Zergs.
Yeah.
But I'm also with what Mana said, because Rogue is always a bit of a mystery, where it's like, one week he looks like, yeah, one of the all-time greats, and then the next week he looks like he doesn't even give a fucking damn, and he's like, why am I here? Like, I want to go home. And it's like, who is this guy? But yeah, but Group B as well, though, like that's the one that happens basically tomorrow morning. I think it's also a very fun group, because I have no idea who to predict to make it out of Group B. Like Cure, Dongreguz, Solar, Zest. Like I'd maybe say like Cure Solar is somewhat to be expected, but I have no idea about that group.
It could be first place and second place for anybody.
Yeah.
I guess like the underdog would be still Dongreguz, but he got the GSL semifinals. So I still think it's a very even group. I don't know what to expect from Zest myself as well. I think he's been on a bit of a downfall, but I think this GSL group will show what kind of form he currently is.
The kicker for me is, who would you predict going out of Group D? Like, if you had to pick. Roddy?
I'm gonna say Trap. Oh, sorry.
Oh, we'll start with Roddy.
Group D is very tough, but I would probably go with Trap because of the way that he has performed in the GSLs and also the season finals, where a lot of the
The
other
new
Koreans been struggling a little bit. Trap makes it to the finals in summer and fall. I'd probably go Trap. I don't know, actually. No, I
so
don't think Trap
difficult.
wins. Trap doesn't win that group. He can take top 2, but I have no idea, James. I'm clueless, actually.
Wardy, any thoughts?
I think innovation makes it out.
Yeah.
I'm an innovation fanboy, so of course I'm gonna say this, but I genuinely think he's also been playing really good lately. Like, yeah, he lost a trap, but I really do think like if it doesn't come down to like innovation trap decider, I think then he's okay because I really do think he's just looked so
Mm.
good in TVZ lately. But then you never know because sometimes Rogue looks like he's just gonna die to dies to the 8 Hellions even in GSL. But then he plays like a 45-minute macro game, and you're like, Zerg is unbeatable. Like, let's nerf this race. Is this Serral playing? Like, it's a bit silly. So, like, yeah, I don't want to put any
Yeah.
predictions in really.
So, Mana, you said Trap. Any other
Yeah.
thoughts?
I mean, I think we need to consider the matchups first. Is it 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3? Like Rogue Trap is the first matchup?
That's a good point.
Because if it's like Trap versus Innovation at first, then I can still see Trap advancing. But if it's like maybe Trap versus Dark, I think Dark has a better chance
So-
versus Trap than Rogue.
It's Rogue, Inno, Dark Trap. to
Dark
start.
Trap. Okay, so I think Trap loses the first round. I think Dark is much more of like an aggressive player, and Rogue and Trap. I mean, they're still both in the same team, right? Gina Greenwing. So I think they like even in the Wardy Chest team league, Trap won versus Rogue in the best of ones. So
Yeah.
I would say Dark is the like the biggest obstacle for Trap, and the other guys I don't think he's like favorite, but he's definitely capable of taking the other guys. So I'm gonna say Trap advances first or second, doesn't matter. But I don't know the second guy. It's a very tough group to call. It really depends on what form they're bringing.
I think I've got it figured out. When the entire world is excited for a group, you know what's gonna happen? Dark
gonna be
first, Rogue second. Like just no every 2-0 for the Zergs. All right. Yeah.
Perfect.
got it.
Roddy's figured it out. There you go. That's the best round of 16, and the Zergs are going to advance. Right, moving on. We're advancing to. We're going to be going to Underdogs 2020 Season 3. And we have all the Frenchies fighting against all the Frenchies. Clem versus DNS. Teat Drogo versus Marine Lord. You know what? I'm so happy to see the rise of Marine Lord again, Roddy. I'm so happy to see him back on the bus.
He's doing fantastic. Absolutely great performance in both DreamHacks, right? Summer was good. Fall was absolutely amazing for him. I'm not sure if I'm 100% convinced he is truly back. I almost feel like he's performing better than he even expected himself. And he's like, well, I got to take this really serious right now because I'm gathering a lot of points and I can make it to Katowice. But yes, it is very exciting. I mean, the French scene, we've always said it, it's just a good, healthy scene with a lot of good players. Even some of the guys that are a bit below the top dogs in that country are still very good. Underdogs is fun, and O-Gaming does a lot of good for their scene for sure.
Yeah. Oh, my webcam died. Well, refreshing. That's fine. Wardy, what do you make of it? I think you covered Submarine Lord during the fall stuff, right?
What are they doing? Sorry, James. But what are they doing with our cameras? Like, they're trying to zoom it in, but obviously we're all moving. Now I'm super high. Wardy was super zoomed out. I'm like,
I think it's because we keep changing positions, so the zoom they have on certain positions is changing. I don't think it's...
it keeps crushing, right? Like,
Yeah. We've all crashed out once, so...
Yeah, let's keep criticizing Cobra more, I think.
James, you don't get to criticize anyone after opening the show like that. I mean...
What? I was doing the overview. Anyway, all right, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Ah, dear me. Mana, have you played against Marine Lord lately? What do you think of him?
Yeah, I lost to him in DreamHack Fall.
Nice. Tell us about that.
okay, I'm done. What is this show?
It was a terrible series, and I lost in the most unfortunate way. He didn't outplay me, but he was the better in this series, and what can I say? I was feeling very confident when I was playing against him. I was leading 2-1. And even the game that I lost was like, happens. But then I just screwed up. That's it.
Well,
it started off with the Ghost Rush, right? Ghost Rush on Death Aura.
Yeah, on Death Aura, yeah.
And the last game, was it Pillars of Gold? Or was that game?
It was
the last game was Everdream.
And he dropped on the pylon.
Oh no, the Stalker warp in. No. Okay. I still wake up every now and then and I shiver like. Okay,
I haven't been more upset about a loss in a long time.
I get it. So now that I have you here, and obviously you can laugh about it a little bit yourself, why did you feel you had to be aggressive anyway in that game? Because how did you read that game? Because I obviously can't look into your mind.
So it's very very popular that when a turn walls off like that, it's a Cloak Widowmine opening, and a lot of turns used to do that. And after on Ice and Chrome, he did the same wall and he made the proxy Raxes. I was thinking like this is the time for the Cloak Mines, and the Frigate opening aggressively is very very good against it. And I saw with the Adepts Hellions moving out, and I'm like, this is just a Hellion drop with a CC behind it, and it was not. Like I'd never seen a Marauder drop with this. And if I just defend, like I said, if I just warp in defensively, I win. But I couldn't expect the Medivac with Marauders be on that path. Even if the pylon is like on the other side and the Marauders don't intercept the Stalkers, I feel I'm still in a fine position. I can just recall the Stalkers once they finish warping in. But it was just the very worst case scenario for me, and things like that can happen, especially in game 5. Is very infuriating, but it's just StarCraft. I've been lucky myself many times, so this time it was my turn to be on the low end.
All right, thank you.
Fair. Well, Mana, I'm glad you could join us so we could verbally assault you throughout this show so far.
Thanks for bringing this up again.
No problem. Let's move on from Underdogs as we have Reyna winning fall, apparently. Yes. Of course, this will be one of the bigger topics that we're going to be talking about.
Can I just say something one more, James?
Yeah, go on.
You said, oh, hey, Serral is back in the caps. Who did he beat? Oh, he beat Mana. Oh, wait, look, there's ESL NA Cup. Special one. Who did he beat? He beat Mana. Oh, Mana, have you played against Marine Bird? Yes. Yes, you have. So, yeah, keep bashing me like that.
This is why you were my first choice as a pro gamer to bring on the show, so I could talk to you about these series. I'm sorry.
Yeah, in my heart. All right, go on.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. All right, yeah. Reyna wins fall. Of course, this will be one of the bigger topics that we're going to be talking about later. We can briefly take a look at the bracket as well before we actually get onto that topic later on here. But yeah, Reyna gets himself the big W after defeating Trap in second place. And actually, whilst we're here on this point of this week in StarCraft, I do want to ask you guys in general, is Trap the new Kong? Because ever since like MLG 2014, there hasn't been a win, but it's seconds all the way. Is he the new Sue Rotterdam?
I don't know if he's the new Sue or not, but instead of like focusing on him just getting second places, I honestly just want to applaud him for being that freaking consistent, man.
Yeah,
especially with Protoss, it's very difficult. And we think of Korea, I will always think of like stats is a little bit better, but I think I'm wrong actually, because Trap is just like having better results. He is winning series, and even that final, man, what an absolutely amazing final. What a great fight he put on against Reyna. I thought in game 6 at one point, actually, I thought he had him. So I don't know. I don't know if he's the new Kong or not, but I think if he keeps playing Protoss like this, he will start winning tournaments. But even if he doesn't, just playing Protoss the way he does and making it to finals is absolutely amazing and very, very, very impressive.
Yeah, Waddy, I feel like the finals was one of the best finals we've had in a long time. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, it was really good. It was much better than I thought, because I left the show saying Reyna was going to win 4-1, and then, it was really epic, 7 games. So yeah, cool. Was a bit wrong about that. I'm impressed by Trap. Like, he stepped up a lot lately. I genuinely believed I know his PvZ got better, but I genuinely believed Reyna was just like too good. But he actually, I actually don't know if Reyna should have won this series, because I actually think Trap definitely had moments to shut it down and to like close it out. So yeah, Trap's playing sick. I definitely think he's the best Protoss in Korea. I'm the same as Roddy. Like, I want to be like, oh yeah, stats and pine, but like, actually, Trap just consistently is the best.
What's your Protoss perspective on it, Mana?
Trap has improved a lot. I like the build variety that he has, and he's willing to take risks by moving out on creep to clear creep, or just take engagements where it's very risky. If you miss a force field, or if the Zerg counterattacks you at the very same moment, you are in a lot of trouble. So I like Trap playstyle. I try to look up to it a bit, especially in PvZ and PvT at the moment. He's been doing stuff from behind where I would be completely dead in PvT, and he still takes it back versus Innovation, for example. But I think his series versus Innovation in season finals was much more on Innovation losing rather than Trap winning. But overall, I think Trap is on a big rise, and I think he has a win coming. But it's a very fierce competition. But he's definitely in the best form that he's been in a while.
It definitely seems it. It feels like he doesn't look in trouble in any of the series, bar going up against a Reina, a Serral, or something like that. So kind of impressive. Anyway, again, we'll get to talk more about Fall later on and everything about that. Let's move on to Alima League as we have stats in the finals, winning out 4-2 against Solar here. Lots of Protoss, lots of Zerg here for the round of 8.
Yeah.
Wow, Maynard must have had an absolute blast casting this.
I know. The Terrans just stopped signing up for Alima League. I don't know what it was, but like he was just like, nah, I'm done with Alima League. Innovation's like, I like other weekly cups. It's like Terrans just don't play these things anymore. It's crazy.
That's because they can't win, James.
Oh, okay.
Also, when I look at this bracket, it's like Wadi is here trying to sell us on the Armani hype train, and I'm like, that's 3-0 Armani. He's like, I don't know, Wadi. I don't know if he's all that good.
When is the stats 0-3 a bad thing? Like,
well, I mean, if you want to be top 8 in the GSL, then I do think you.
Maybe he was saving himself for GSL. Picked up an easy win over Billowy, and then,
that's it.
He had no Protoss in his group. He had nothing to hide.
He had Sound in his group, which is like the decider match. Basically.
Okay, true. Yeah, that's right. I'll take it.
All right. Moving on. OSC King of the Hill Weekly. We have Solar got himself the win. Is it the win? Or is it like 3 different tournaments?
No, it's like
it's a King of the Hill.
King of the Hill. So.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Tag is down.
Yeah, I didn't know how to explain it.
You know what, guys? It's early, all right.
You do get you get money per matchup you win, and you get money if you're the last person standing, and for the longest streak, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, Special got the longest streak, so he's the best.
Yeah, so he gets some extra points for that or something. But Solar stays on for next week too.
All right, guys, I'll get the elephant out of the room. James, I know you want to ask it. Mana, have you been playing against Christiana lately?
Hey, I was the previous week king. I was supposed to start with Sol, but I was late. I was stuck in traffic, so I was rescheduled to play the 4th map, and then I get Christiana and I get PvP'd. He is good. He owned it.
Yeah. Better than Mana. There you go.
Better, much better. Clearly the best product there.
Oh, this has been the best start ever. Moving on.
Gotta stop competing, guys. There's too many losses.
This wasn't even intentional. It's just worked out so well. Oh my god. All right, the AO Die Weekly. There's a guy called Huge Gabe in here. This is fantastic. What is going on? Bistalk is in there as well, but Ranger wins it 3-0 at the very end. Who is Huge Gabe? I want to know this guy. Does anyone know?
It's a great nickname.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
No, I'm not that familiar with him, but I do think I've seen the name before, actually, in one of these tournaments, but I've never watched him play. But what a name.
Brilliant stuff. All right. I don't know many names in there now that I look at it, really, but Bistalk, of course, really does jump out, etc. But anyway, anybody want to talk about this, or are we good?
I'm good.
We're good.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving on. CSO Cup. Christiana, the Slayer of Mana, is able to win here.
One versus me more often than I'd like to admit.
Okay, all right. So Christiana is able to win out here as well. Nice for him. The next one is set for September the 19th, but that was in the past. Oh, all right. Well, good luck, time travelers. Next one. SCV Rush Open. Oh, Christiana, the Slayer of Mana again strikes. Damn, he is good mana. What do you think?
He played some amazing people. He beat Nitix and Kaiji.
Kaiji is a god, so if he beats Kaiji...
I lost to him in ESL Open, like number 8 or whatever, like in the very first round. So yeah. I know who he is.
Because when you play against Kaiji, you're like, wait, I'm confused. And then you're dead. And you're like, how did we get here? It doesn't make any sense. I'll never forget that Hearthstone played him in, I think, DreamHack Summer qualifiers, right?
Yeah.
And in the first round, I was like, hey, Hearthstone, did you already play Kaiji? And in like the public battle chat, he's like, yes. I lost 2-0. This guy's either a Smurf or a god. And then we all came out of the woodworks. I'm like, oh, Hassim, I played him a lot. He's actually pretty good. Like, he plays really weird. And then, like, another DNS is like, yeah, I've lost against him too. Hassim, all right, god it is.
But he's like 5.3 KMR or something like that.
No. What? Are you kidding me? No. I
come
used to...
on.
No, I played Kaiji a lot for a long time when he was a barcode and he always had this specific icon, so I recognized him. And this is when he was 5'7", 5'8", and he would Roach and Ling all in me every game. But eventually he's like, what if
Pretty
I
much
take a
same
note?
MMR.
No, what if I take a note out of Bly's page book and I start proxying hatcheries as well, and I really confuse my opponents. And he's easily been like 6'1", 6'2". That's kind of his level. But he's actually like, he's not 5'2". He's like 6'1", 6'2", maybe even 6'3" sometimes.
I mean, of course, he's capable of playing on this kind of level. Maybe I was watching his like inactive account or something like that. Maybe I just remember incorrectly, but he's definitely like playing at the level of at least 5.8 for sure.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. Next mon, Cuppa Hyperion. Cham wins 3-0. Hey, you know what? It's not really Cham doing well again, especially since the fall stuff. So he gets that one. Jim
Tough
Rising
opponent.
in there. What?
It's nice to see inactive Jim Rising still playing in tournaments, isn't he? Like, for a guy who's just a streamer, he does sign up for quite a few tournaments.
He's a restreamer, no? Anyway, no.
Oh!
Next one, Battle of the Americas. Oh, Cham beats the restream. Jim Rising. They're in the finals. Am I here to sabotage the Pylon show? I think so. I'm sorry. I was crying before. I'm sorry. Oh god, it's so funny. Moving on. Golden Team League Championship 2020 fall. I assume Wardy is covering this in one way or another. Wardy.
Yes. It's my favorite tournament because if you put the title in the stream name, everyone shows up and it's like, is this Gold League? As they're watching like Dark Fist Innovation.
Oh my god.
It's amazing. Like every single week, multiple times a week, and I'm like, I don't know, does it look like Gold League? And they're like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like the Zerg just like doesn't look very good. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Rogue's just having an off day, mate.
Casually dropped 5,000 MMR.
Yeah. This event's pretty fun. It's really competitive. Like, I think the bottom three teams are more or less out now. Like, Team LP have to make some like magic happen in the final week. But like the top five, because it's like a gauntlet style playoff as well. So like every position basically guarantees you an extra finishing spot already in the playoffs.
Right.
It's pretty competitive, and like Jin keep accidentally losing because they refuse to. You know, this is the funniest thing. Jin like go to 3-3 against the worst team in the league, Team GP, right? Team GP of like, you know, they've got like Bomber and Prince, and it's just like they're just not very strong compared to the other teams. They're like really fun to follow because they've got fun players, but they're not winning anything. And Jin go to 3-3 because Rogue manages to play a half an hour game against Natural, who then beats Rogue in a big mech game, big macro. Rogue just loses. So Jin end up 3-3. And I'm like, well, guys, I'm sure Rogue's going to come out, or maybe Trapsia. And Jin are like, no, we can't actually lose to these guys. So they sent out Maru in the ace match. I mean, you know how much Nathanius had to beg Maru to play in an ace match in the War Chest Team League? And now he just shows up in the ace against Team GP. This is like the height of Maru's career, I think, at this point. It was really incredible. But no, it's really sick.
What are these points? Like you can say win 5, lost 0, and what is the 13? What does
So
it
the
mean?
points, so
Map
you get
score.
3 points for winning without an ace match, 2 points if you win in an ace match, and a point if you lose in an ace
So
match.
these points are the most important ones, right?
So that's what it gets ranked on, and that's why actually like Jin are kind of down because they've only ever won or lost. They've only ever won in ace matches, and they've lost in an ace match or something. So it makes it exciting though, because it actually
not knowing the format of the tournament.
well, it's pretty fun, like because it actually makes it more exciting than just like, because like a Chinese player has to play each week as well for each team. So it also means that if the Chinese player can get a map win, and force an ace, it can be like really influential for the team as well. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's pretty cool. Like DPG have looked pretty strong. Kaizi look good. Alpha X are consistently good. Jin will probably win the whole thing because they'll actually send Maru out in the end.
Right.
And like,
The
yeah,
playoffs is
it's-
still the king of the hill, right?
yeah. So like, it'll be like Dragon Phoenix Gaming will start in the finals. So it'll be like,
Mhm.
if
Right.
it went from like now, it'd be like Jin versus Brave Star. Winner plays Alpha X. Winner plays Kaizi.
And how many in
Winner
the
plays-
playoffs? Is it five? 5 teams?
Yeah, 5 teams. So it's over. The playoffs is over 4 days because we do. They have an all-star day as well. So like every team sends forward like their best player, and they do like a.
Hmm.
They just casually put on like an extra $10,000 tournament. So it's also pretty
Sick.
sick.
That's the
Yeah.
main stipulation, right, of being able to play, that you have to at least have one Chinese player representing, right?
You have to have like a Chinese or Taiwanese or like that sort of region player.
Yeah.
So like for example, like it's pretty sick because like Alpha X have Nice, who's obviously like one of the better Chinese/Taiwanese players.
Yeah.
So they actually have a better shot than some of the teams. And then Kaizi Gaming have like a cheat code because they get time. So they actually have a chance in the Chinese matches compared to some of the other teams as well. But it's
Yeah.
actually like the sickest thing is the Chinese players actually do pretty well. Like Invictus Gaming are like all Chinese, and they actually every season they don't make playoffs, but like every season they go to ace matches against teams like Jin Air and stuff. I mean, it's like really fun to watch because you never go in thinking, oh yeah, they're gonna get like stomped. Because actually nobody gets stomped in this world. Sometimes they do, but even like the worst teams put up a good fight.
It's still sick to see kind of Invictus Gaming still fielding a team, relatively speaking, to like the world of esports and kind of, you know, where they're big elsewhere and stuff. So that's always nice. All right, moving on. Let's get going. Where are we now? We are at Ladder Heroes from Fear Dragon. We've got Paco Mike winning it out in North America, Roddy.
That means that Pacomite has played a ridiculous amount of games because he doesn't have the same MMR as these other players that are very highly ranked. Yeah, Ladder Heroes is really awesome. It's a bit EU ladder since that's broken. Okay,
Yeah,
I know that
he stopped supporting Europe.
Oh.
Okay, so he's just trying to make some more activity happen on NA. I used to play quite a bit of ladder, just trying to score some points in Ladder Heroes, and it really is cool because some of these guys are actually playing like hundreds of games more than they normally do. Because you don't just get money based upon your MMR, but it's like a little math calculation between like amount of games you've played and then the MMR combined, and then you get a Ladder Hero score. So looking at this ranking, I think that Paco Mike has probably played like 1,000 ladder games this season, and that's pretty awesome. So thank you, Fear Dragon, and you're welcome, Paco Mike.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. And then Showtime apparently over in Europe. But as you said, what did you say, Manor, about the support for EU?
Yeah, so I think Fear Dragon did like Ladder Heroes were not a thing for a long time, and then Fear Dragon is trying to revive it. And then he was going to revive only NA, but I think a couple of EU players say like, "Hey, give it a try to EU again." So it was on for like maybe 3 months or something like that. And then like not a lot of activity specifically for Ladder Heroes was there. Like people were just laddering, but they were not really interested. People were even signing off the Ladder Heroes not to get money. Like Sarah, for example, he said, "Hey, remove me from the Ladder Heroes. I don't get money." So like there was basically no activity from Europe. Like I enjoyed it. I didn't play ladder specifically for the Ladder Heroes, but the weekly paycheck of $20 from Free Dragon was good.
No, I think what it is that the MMR works very differently on Europe, right, than it does on NA. On NA, even like the top players are quite a bit closer towards like the other players, while in Europe there is just like a very big MMR difference between like of 600, 700, 800 MMR between like the top EU guys and the rest. And no matter how many fucking ladder games I would play, I could never breach that like Ladder Heroes gap unless I would actually get my MMR up there. So this doesn't really work on Europe unless they change the calculation where like the amount of games you play matters slightly more than the MMR. Because like Cero was always first just because he has like a 900 MMR gap over the second guy who's actually trying to catch him. And it means that Cero with 30 games will still have more points than, I don't know, Cristiano with 900, you know. It's just the way it is.
I mean, EU scene is healthy anyway without the Ladder Heroes, but it was a good addition to earn some additional money. Like I didn't mind it. I would like it to be there, but I know it's just not worth it for Free Dragon because he pays it from his own pocket, I think.
Of course, yeah. Slubbabub in chat says that Paco Mike played 1,467 games.
Oh my god!
Shit.
Okay, that's even more than I thought. But well
That's a lot
done,
of cannon
Paco Mike.
rushes.
Yeah.
All right.
Well done.
Moving on to the next one. Streamer versus Twitch chat part 2, the remix featuring Juggernaut Jason. And apparently Uko was the only player to beat him and get $10 per game. Nice. Good job, Uko. Wait, how does this work? What do? They just play games? And that's it? How do they choose the people that are playing the games?
Well, I guess you challenge them from the Twitch chat because it says on the bottom right, James, any and all challenges, preferably from Twitch chat, will play.
Thank you very much, Waddy. I appreciate that. On to the next one. I'm doing well in this, aren't I? Legacy Weekly Japan. We have Albion getting himself the victory here against Psyark, actually, in the final. Psyark is a name I know.
Yeah.
Nice. There you go. Next one. Exxon Cup Open. We have Vanya getting himself the victory here in the final against Psy123. Who's Psy123? That has to be an alias, no?
Yes, that has to be an alias. I have no idea who it is, but looking at the players he beat, well, you don't beat Chem if nobody knows who you are.
No, exactly.
I feel like I know who it is because I've looked
10?
it up before.
Is
it B?
No, he's a Korean Terran.
Ah, okay.
He has $0 total earnings.
Psy 1, 2, 3.
Oh, yeah, it's a Korean turn.
Yeah.
I've seen him in one of these other tournaments actually.
Yeah, he's played in. He apparently only plays in the Exxon Cup and the Share Shadai Open, and like a couple other things.
Very mysterious, guys. I'm getting a little excited.
Ooh. All right, moving on. Shadi Open, as we have Parting getting himself the victory here, 3-0. The Shadi Open is a Thursday weekly tournament sponsored by OSC and Metrorino. All right, cool, fantastic. I'm getting up to date with all of this stuff as well. I'm a busy boy, guys. I can't wait. Somebody won 99-0 in the first round. Amazing.
That's when they don't know the score or it's a default win. They put 99. But yeah, Ashbringer is actually a name that I know, a Russian Protoss. A little aggressive. We'll put him on the more aggressive end of the Protoss spectrum. Yeah, good to see him having a decent run.
Good to see him winning 99-0 as well against Starkula, the pizza man. All right, next. The Sea Duckling Open. Mabel's defeated 11 3-0 at the end here. This is a tournament dedicated to bronze through diamond players of any region.
Okay, so
awesome to see.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Maples, and I was like, I know Maples, the Protoss. He's not Diamond League at all. Yeah. No, these kind of tournaments are really fun. Like, it's always a bit hard to really keep track of, like, are people playing fair, because there's always, like, a Master League guy who's like, haha, it's my chance to fucking finally win a tournament, and he's gonna, like, lose a bunch of games or log in on the Diamond account, but if you can really, like, secure it to make sure that it's a fair playing ground, for everybody in those respective leagues, it's super fun to compete.
Yeah, very, very nice. I have to agree. I mean, even when I was playing active, like, back in the day, I played in some of like these tournaments and it was a lot of fun. So they're definitely fun to play in. So sign up for them if you are in some of these ranks. Moving on, the Platypus Open. Is that like a promotion from the Sea Duckling Open? I guess so. Mio Mika wins 3-1 against Pez in the final. Actually, the salty run back after being defeated in the winners final by Pez gets the victory off of him. Nice. You like to see that, don't you, Manu?
Yes, I'm sure that these were very good games, and I think Mio Mika. I think he's the player that defeated Maru 2-0 in WESG, something like that.
Yep.
The group stage.
Yeah.
So good on him.
Fantastic. Let's move on to Pokemon. It's the Magikarp Masters Cup. We have the Magikarp Masters Cup number 11, October the 3rd. If you're bronze to 4,900 MMR, you can play. So go and sign up, I believe, on those links. Fantastic. We had Koi Boy. How do I pronounce that? Kai Boy.
Hi, boy.
Yeah.
Kai Boy.
I mean, I see KY, not KO.
Kai. Anyway, next. The Bald Guy Classic. Soul defeats Sonoxter 3-1 here as organized by Creighton. Fantastic.
Okay, I just want to give a shout out by the way to Creighton because he was running this random tournament, right? And then like I signed up for the random tournament, I won the random tournament, and he's like, "All right, this is it. I'm canceling the tournament series immediately."
Wait, what?
Wow, yeah. I 2-0'd Goblin in the grand final of the random tournament. I was on a roll. I got Protoss twice. He got Terran and Zerg.
Brilliant.
Outplay.
That's that's just skill. That I don't know what to say. All
Oh,
right,
this is a
next-
random tournament. There's
Yeah, this
somebody
is
said-
random too.
Ah, it's back. Oh, I want to play. Damn it.
Roddy, sign up. What are you
Yeah.
doing?
I was the reigning champ for a while, but then he cancelled it for a bit.
When is it on again?
Mondays
That's what we need to
usually.
know. Mondays.
Yeah, but it might have changed. This is like old info. I'm not updated.
All right, Roddy, you need to sign up, mate. All right, next one. The Banshees tournament. Hey, I thought that had gone away for a while, but now I guess it's back.
It had.
It had?
You're not wrong.
Okay. Melody gets the position at the top 4-0 in this Swiss tournament system. Good to see it back, to be honest. It's a very nice initiative early on and really like to see it again. Next is played on October the 3rd. So sign-ups will be posted on the Banshee Discord if you want to actually go sign up for the upcoming ones. The Cock of the Walk is next. Why is it called the Cock of the Walk?
It's something about Chicken Man, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. There you go. Yeah. All right. Cham beats the Mana Slayer in the final, 3-1. Here. Awesome.
We're
Maybe
not going to
Christian-
make this a thing. This is not a thing.
It was like literally a best of one, and I'm just like coining this down. All right. So yeah, live on Thursday, 7 p.m. CEST. You can find that at twitch.tv/chickenmansc. Next up, winner, I'll buy you a fucking dinner. Okay, great stuff. Snockstar again gets himself the win over Uko, the only guy that. Oh, it's all linked. It's all linked, guys. Brilliant. 4-2 win. And
I mean,
you
Uko
get
is
some-
actually very good. Who is Snockstar? I'm not that familiar with him.
Snockstar is
He's
a
Polish.
Polish Zerg.
Oh, okay, the EU guy. Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
I've played him. Okay, but that's still a good win because I thought Uko was a bit better than that. But well done, Snockstar.
Kalar is actually a very good catch. You actually are reading this stuff and you remember what you have read. So that's very
That's-
good. You remember Uko. You remember Snockstar. Good.
Yeah, you know, I might not be completely awake today, but I'm getting these small things, small things. All right, next, the Pizza Pie bi-weekly season 4. Okay, so Geralt gets himself the win over Nina, 3-1. It's that Geralt, right? It's not a different Geralt, Anna.
Yeah, it's D1.
Okay, that one. Okay, good. Cool.
Have you played Gerard lately, Mana?
Wait, I lost to him somewhere. Wait, not too long ago. I'm sure. I mean, Geralt is like my biggest victim on Aligolac, but
Oh yeah.
recently it's been much more even. Oh wait,
Net
no, I won
Wars
versus him.
3-0 for Gerald over Mana.
Yes, yeah, in August. But then I beat him in the group stage. In
We
fall.
don't talk about the wins.
Barely, 2-1.
It's in the past, Kevin. Come. What matters is the most recent result, and that means
There you
Cristiano is better.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, next, we have the El Prisma podcast with Dastan Darkness and Eggs talking about
Wow.
the UA Expert Tournament, DreamHack Masters, and the GSL. Eggs is now a regular on the show, replacing the number 1 from Ladder Heroes, Paco Mike.
Wow.
Oh my god.
I mean, you don't have time to be on a show if you're playing that many games, do you?
Yeah.
You have to retire for a lot of heroes.
Gotta get that juicy Ladder Heroes money. Can't be on this podcast.
And X is like, it's okay. It doesn't take that long to Zergling rush some nerds, so I can do Ladder Heroes and be on the Spanish Pylon show. Yeah, makes sense.
Fantastic. All right, on to the next. We have Gold Secondary League 2024. September 26th, 27th. That's tomorrow.
Yes.
Brilliant. Are you covering this, Wardy?
No, I actually didn't know this existed.
Oh.
Which,
Wait,
This
what?
is the Gold League.
well, I actually think this is for like Chinese. I'm pretty sure this is for Chinese players who are like not quite the top tier, or like who didn't make like DreamHack this season or something. I think.
Mm.
I'm not 100% sure, so I don't know.
Actually,
Alright.
Gold League tournament?
That's,
Um,
that's the branding.
yeah. I mean, no, that's what it's called though. It's like called the Gold Series. It's like the same with the Team League. It's called like the Gold Series.
Yeah.
So it's like that's just what NetEase calls their StarCraft 2 events. It's like the Gold Series. But I think
they
this
call-
is like a short. I think this is for like weaker players or something.
They call more than just the StarCraft. A lot of the Heroes of the Storm tournaments were called the
Yeah,
Gold
like
Series
it's
as
like
well, so-
Warcraft 3 as well, right? It's like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
like tournament brand. So
Cool. On to the next one. That's Artosis' phrase, isn't it? I shouldn't say that. I should say something different. The Corporate Esports Association Collegiate Series Fall 2020. Jesus, that's a mouthful. We have people fighting people. UVU Riders of Rohan. I like their name. I'm not gonna lie. So, yep. Awesome. Next. Wait, that's the Gold League again. Oh no, I clicked backwards.
You gotta read that again, man.
No. Corporate Esports Association. Facebook is better than Peloton. Is that biking thing that there's obnoxious people on adverts shouting at you? Epic is better than Garmin. Yeah, those are the results.
Cool.
there's so many
Cool.
Google teams.
Yeah, there is a lot of Google teams.
Like
And
Google
Amazon is better
Gmail.
than Google. Well, yeah, Google versus Google. How
That's
can
really
Google
fun.
be better than Google? That's weird. Yeah.
Team kill.
I like how Google's only win came from over Google. Like they lost Apple, they lost Amazon, but it's okay. They got themselves.
Oh yeah, they're like if you look at the names, the Google GG Mail, the Google A Movers, the Google Expendables, they're the ones that lost. The Google, yeah, amazing. Huh. All right. Anyway, next, the Demi C Weekly 1. Is that by Demi?
Yeah,
The Demi.
it's brand new as well.
Wardy, are you covering this?
No.
No.
It's on the Cranky Ducklings.
It's on the. It's on the Cranky Dunklings. Okay, great.
Duck.
That's another.
They're not dunking, James. It's not Dunkin'. It's not Dunkin' Donuts either. It's a ducky.
Oh, I'm gonna cry again. I don't know what's wrong with me today. Okay, next one. Sentimentianto Latino 94 plays on September the 25th. That's today. I'm gonna keep
Wadi, are
doing
you
that.
covering this?
What are you covering this?
No, I'm not. I feel like they've cut out all the Wardy tournaments.
Are there supposed to be some here that are not here?
I don't know. I never submit anything to the Pylon show. Apparently, usually people do it for me. I never knew.
Oh, have you got beef with the Pylon show?
No, I just don't submit stuff. Like,
Did you restream the Pilot Show, Wadi?
what can I say, man? I just wanted to, I don't know, show all the this week in StarCraft to everybody again.
I need a minute. Oh my god, is this the best? Is this the best this week in StarCraft ever?
No,
Oh,
it's
dear
not.
me.
I'm sorry, James.
Let's be honest, it's not.
It's at the bottom end of things. It's like, I don't want to say this was the worst, but bottom 5 probably.
I feel like when Artosa started out after a couple of weeks, he like, we're around that sort of level,
Yeah.
Oh my god. All right, next. Oh, I'm gonna die. This is awful. The Kubo International Cup. This is the King of Battles thing that
yeah,
you guys were
it's not
talking
called.
about
It's
before.
not allowed to be called Kubo International Championship anymore
Oh, why not? They don't like Kubo.
because it's a betting company in China, and I guess
Ah,
so.
okay.
This is just me theorizing, but I guess because someone did some like digging into what the company is, and they found out it was a betting company, and there was a bit of it wasn't really drama, but there was a bit of discussion. And I feel like Blizzard then found out that there was a bit of discussion, so they were like, "Got to change
Right.
the name." So it's now called the King of Battles.
They've been a bit cheeky about these kinds of sponsors, I suppose, in the past. So they don't really.
I mean, it's,
yeah,
I was kind of surprised they allowed a betting sponsor.
yeah.
Because that's just I think obviously they're pretty disconnected. So
Hmm.
like because it's like a Chinese site or something, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's pretty disconnected. So it wasn't that bad, but I was kind of happy to see the name change just for consistency's sake. Because I know I've had my own events turned down because of that sort of stuff before. So
Right. Are you covering this, Wadi?
no, it's on Alpha X. It's their event.
Okay.
Live
Fantastic.
right now, in case
Alfred.
this week in StarCraft isn't doing it for you.
Oh, right. Live right now. Fantastic.
Yeah,
worry,
the first
guys.
Korean qualifier.
All right, next one. This week in Brood War. Oh, it's a picture of lava eating something. Fantastic. The Bombastic Star League Season 10. Ladders have begun. People advancing over people. Group E and F play on Friday. G and H play on Saturday. Awesome. Yes, I don't know much about Brood War, even though I did watch some lately. Oh, Ian Zerg's playing. There you go. Next. How about you? Which number? 50. Oof. Shamtu. Provided more prize pull for the Brood War. Awesomeness. Florentine. Fantastic. Next. TDR Nation Wars 2. Oh, geez Louise. That's a lot of players. Team Sweden's going up against Norway. Wait, that was a walkover. Never mind. I picked the one that was
Easy win.
I'm doing good, guys. Don't worry. So Poland wins. What do you think about that manner? Hey, Ziggy's playing. Actually, he's playing both games, right?
Poland, yeah, like he's not playing that much StarCraft 2, but I don't know how much he plays StarCraft Brood War either. So he's playing both, I suppose. And Poland has always been like one of the very best teams outside of Korea in Brood War, and we still have a very, I want to say, healthy scene in StarCraft Brood War. A lot of the old guys, like I know everybody from Team Poland from my Brood War times, so it's still the old guys.
Are you
Well,
playing
a lot,
Mana?
a lot older right now.
A lot older, yeah. No, I mean, I'm not playing. I play Brood War like once, maybe per 2 weeks. I queue up one ladder game, I crash a soul, and then I just log out. That's it.
A sacrificial soul for your StarCraft 2 ladder afterwards. I see. Nice. All right, moving on. Rookie Star League. We have Maverick being able to get his win in his next round. We've got Jonah, Berry go around Maverick, Slow, Zerg. Awesome. Yeah, Rookie Star League. Next. Foul Play North America returns next Friday night. Tune in at 8 p.m. EDT. Which one's EDT? Wardy, you'll know.
East Coast.
East Coast. Fantastic. Casters are Justin Father, Observers Tim, twitch.tv/Rogues Gallery Brood War, or BW even. Discussion topics. Way, we're done. Discussion topics is on. All right. Guys, let's talk about the DreamHack StarCraft 2 2020 Masters Fall Season Finals. Let's talk about the groups. Let's talk about everything that went down, as well as going into the brackets. Obviously, everybody here was part of it, apart from Mana, he lost. And when we look at how things went down in the finals, I think it was a drastic improvement over summer. Well, one, because I was there. Two, because it just, in general, was I think, a better tournament, Wardy, overall. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we just had more storylines, more like better games. Like there was so many games in this one which were like just super exciting, super close. Like summer was a really fun event, but I think this event was. I wouldn't be surprised if this event is better than the next one though, because I feel like this event just had so many good matches.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's almost hard to compare, like, or hard to expect the same amount again. Like I'm sure we're gonna get some good matches again, right? Like last season we also had Cyril versus Clem and Raynor Clem and Cyril Raynor, and they were awesome. But this season had all of that, and everything else was also really exciting and really cool and really fun. And yeah, it was just like you say, it was just a good season, and like everything lived up to the hype, like all the way through to like the season finals, grand final. That was really awesome as well. So it was really, yeah, I think just a really fun event, right? Just through and through. Don't think anyone has a bad word to say about it. Maybe I don't think.
You know what's funny is that I actually think the groups of the season finals in summer were better than the groups in the season finals of fall.
I do agree with that.
But everybody forgets about that because the playoffs is like what really gets people hype, and the playoffs of fall were just absolutely amazing. Like I feel like all 4 quarterfinals were pretty interesting. Clem Sarah was absolutely fantastic. The semifinals were freaking cool, and then obviously the grand final was amazing. That leaves everybody with the feeling like, oh my god, it was so cool. But like I casted Group B and Group C, and to be fair, Waddy, that Group C that we had, that was a rough day of StarCraft 2. Holy fuck.
You and me, Roddy, we just bring out the worst StarCraft games ever every time we cast lately. Like TSL literally stopped putting us together for the finals because they're like, we just can't afford to sacrifice our final day, man. Like, yeah, it's I definitely think that's true. I definitely think last season's groups were better because you had stuff like Trap Clem, like a decided match, and like
Yeah.
Mario
Mm.
Special was pretty close. I think the groups just matched up better last season, whereas this season it was like, to me, they were very clear cut, and there was like one or two players that could maybe do it differently, and those players didn't really step up. I think the closest
Yeah.
we got was like Dongregu stepped up against Stats and kind of put on a
Yeah.
fun series, but like Scarlet, like I feel like Time, if he got a chance against Innovation in the decider, I feel like that could have been cool. But then Scarlet got there, and Scarlet took it to 3 games as well. But I don't really remember that series like massively. So
Clement Special is kind of even too, right? It could go either way.
yeah, like the first, but that's the thing. Like the first special climb was actually kind of fun. Like we had one longer game, but then the second one was just like two
Yeah.
10-minute games. Like everything that could have been like here or there or go either way kind of just didn't go either way. It was pretty one-sided. In
Yeah.
the decider at least. So
I seem to recall watching the Clem special second one then as well. And when you watched special in his webcam, I mean, he's still in Korea, right? So it was kind of
Yeah.
late for him. He looked not less focused, but I guess a bit more frustrated with the series than anything. So maybe I don't know, that was a factor for him. Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
the games he had against Rogue must have been really frustrating, right? Like,
Yeah.
those were-
Yeah.
that was pretty.
I remember the night as like 0.1 inch away from where the Marines were supposed to be and shut it down. You know, one big difference that we had in this season final compared to the previous one is that the season finals of summer were only 4 days and this one was 6 days because every
Yeah.
group got a dedicated day, which is something that I was fighting for because I thought it was really stupid that during the first season finals we hype up the season finals, then we have a B stream and like the craziest upsets were happening. I think back then in Group B or something, like Hero Marine
Yeah.
Time was the winners match and everybody's like, wow, and like we're casting the mainstream. I'm like, okay, this is silly. Like for 6 weeks we're leading up to the season finals and now we're having 2 streams run at once.
Mm.
So this time they spread it out, which I think is much better. Unfortunately, like Wadi said, I feel the groups didn't really deliver. Like if you would have asked me to predict 8 players to move on, these are the 8 players I would have predicted. And that doesn't make me an oracle. That just, I think a lot of diehard StarCraft fans would have done
Yeah.
that. So that was a bit of a shame, but the playoffs made up for everything and even more than that.
It's especially weird to me that in summer there was the the dual groups going on every single each day, considering the fact that we're in the coronavirus times or whatever and stuff like that. And it's not like that. This is a isolated studio broadcast, right, Roddy? They have the opportunity and the ability to not really be blowing the budget, but then just have them every single day. So of course,
Well, they
change
did.
happened.
They did start hiring you, James, so that budget did take a pretty hefty hit. I mean,
I can actually speak on this a bit because I actually
Sure.
talked with Apollo a lot before they announced the system, and what they were trying to do was like create enough space that basically content creators like me, Base Trader, whatever, we could still run our tournaments because they appreciate that that's a very that's something that kind of keeps
Important.
StarCraft going, right? Like
Yeah.
because usually there's like a big event for like a weekend and like the qualifiers are like a few weeks before whatever, or there's like a challenger week, but like there's never usually this like dominating force of DreamHack, right? Which is on like every single day for like 4 weeks
Yeah.
straight. And it's true, like I can't run anything while DreamHack is on. Like you can't
Yeah,
run
yeah.
Korean events really because GSL is on. You can't run Korean events because it runs into DreamHack anyway. Like and then DreamHack's on every single day. The only day it's not on is ESL Open Cup. So it is true you can't
Mhm.
really run anything. So they were kind of trying to like not take up. They were trying to like
Okay.
not take up as much space. They were like, if we do like 3 weeks and then the final week's like a little bit shorter, so you can start setting up again, and then you get this like stretch of like 3 or 4 weeks where we're not online. You can run your tournaments, and then DreamHack comes back. So I think originally they were kind of going like that, but I think they've kind of realized they need to just take up even more space than they were. So
yeah,
For-
but like I think obviously all of those are good points and that's important. But I think the 2 days of season finals, I don't think that really makes or
Yeah.
breaks it for.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
it
guys
makes
like
it makes no difference. Like, this is what I said. This is what I figured out in the end. Anyway, it's like even if they only did like, because right now it's like you really can't do many days at all. Like, because
Mhm.
they're on every day. But even if
Mhm.
they made it so I could like cast on Tuesdays, that doesn't like help me at all. It doesn't change anything really.
No,
like-
because how can you build up consistency with
Yeah,
your viewers
exactly,
and run a
like-
proper tournament?
yeah. But there's just nothing you can do. I just kind of accept that DreamHack's like dead time now, apart from like actually
Yeah.
getting to work DreamHack. So
Yeah, I think it's the same for like a lot of personal streamers, and this is also something that Apollo obviously kept in mind in the beginning of the year. He wanted to make sure that there was a healthy streaming scene and that players could still stream and casters could stream, and that it wouldn't be like ESO esports all the time. But then obviously Corona changed things, so yeah, it takes a lot more time right now. But obviously, like I'm not really running that many tournaments. I run once in a while, but even as a personal streamer, it's pretty difficult. Like DreamHack starts basically at noon, I think, like the Australian one, and I think it's okay if you're European to maybe stream over that a little bit. But 4 p.m. that's a hard cutoff for me. It's like, all right, guys, like that's it. It's DreamHack time, and I don't even really want to stream during DreamHack because obviously I want to watch DreamHack as well.
Right.
On the other hand, it's a bit difficult if you only like. Let's say you work 1 day a week, sometimes 2 days a week. It's like as a full-time, person in StarCraft 2. I mean, I could maybe live from it, but that's not really the way I want to live my life, right? Like I still got to find a way to spend my time in the other 5 days or 6 days where I'm not doing anything. So yeah, you kind of just form your entire schedule around DreamHack. It's like, all right, we're going to wake up at 10 and then stream StarCraft from 11 to 4 p.m. And then maybe you can stream like something else while DreamHack is going on. But you definitely don't want to be playing StarCraft while DreamHack is going on because it's kind of pointless as a streamer.
Yeah, I guess your viewership dips pretty dramatically in those moments. Mana, how do you see it from a player's perspective? I mean, even just playing in the current system, do you see any differences from summer to fall, or do you kind of just like the system overall right now? What are your thoughts?
I think from the player's perspective, I don't think that much changed. At least I didn't notice any significant change. Maybe there was some timing changes or whatever, but I think we started like an hour later maybe. But overall, I think both summer and fall have been very good for the players. Drogo said it very well in the interview that it's very stressful to have one best of 3 like per day or per 2 days. And like, you keep the stress for the entire group stage because every match is very, very important and you can't really be lazy about any match. But, that's the spirit of the competition and I don't mind that at all. I like to have additional time to prepare for the opponents, to check the status of the groups, how important this match is going to be, if I can maybe spare a map or not. I like the idea of having the round robin as well, especially 8 people, and then 2 advancing to the winner bracket and the other 2 to the lower bracket. I think it's the super good change because you still have like 1 more life if you are in the winner bracket and. It's just I think the system is working very well for the players. I can't think of a system that would be better than it is right now in the current stage of the world that we currently have. I think it's just very, very good and I do enjoy it.
I actually enjoy this so much as not just a commentator, but as a fan as well, like following like the underdogs in the big round robins, that I'm actually going to miss it if this never happens again. Like, obviously, I would love to have some offline events and see all of you guys again and get the epic hype of an offline finals. Like, that's really cool. But I actually think this is so fun for not like the top tier, but for the guys that are right underneath that, right? Like breaking into the top of the European scene or top NA scene for the first time. Like, Vanya was like, I was joking about how great Vanya is, but Vanya has really proven over the last 2 seasons in DreamHack that this kid is actually becoming a pretty serious contender, right? And then MaxPax, for someone like him, 16 years old, has now the chance to play 7 very competitive best of 3s on a big stage like DreamHack.
Yeah.
I find it so much fun to follow these journeys, and I know that there are some fans who are always like, I need closure every day. These are meaningless matches. But they are clearly not paying attention to what the players are saying. Like, first of all, they're playing for over $100 per best of 3, so that matters. Second of all, you always want to win if you play in a big tournament. Third of all, every best of 3 does matter, because top 2 is way better than top 4, and if you're not in top 4, you're out of the tournament. So fans who say like, oh, these are just a bunch of irrelevant matches, that's absolute crazy talk. And like Drogo said in the interview as well, these players are literally their entire day is like they're living up to this best of 3.
Yeah.
And that's when they want to perform. And they give it their best. So for people to then sit at home like, irrelevant, like that's absolute nonsense. The matches are not irrelevant, and I actually think it's really fun to follow.
I mean, up until the last 2 days-ish or so of gameplays, the majority of the routes hadn't been fully decided yet, right? So, like, that in itself is good. I do think, though, when you look at how the broadcast is in general, I think that we could still do a much better job of updating the viewers as to what this game meant, where they've moved on the groups and things like that, without somebody having to have Liquipedia open on the left-hand side or something.
Yeah, yeah.
I think one limitation that DreamHack has is that they have a very small crew working on this show. But I would like to see in future iterations of this system, if they're going to continue doing it, something like, during the break screens, after a series has happened, you could have a graphic of the group and you see how the players have moved in that particular group, if you know what I mean, after that series.
I think it got absolutely. I think it got better though in fall. They did a better job in fall than in summer, because obviously, like, we also mentioned that and we told them multiple times, like, hey, this is really important. Like, we can't expect everybody that's watching the stream to be as diehard as us, or as diehard as the 2 or 3% in chat that has both streams open, checks Wikipedia, follow.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how casual people watch StarCraft 2, and we can't expect that from them either. So it's our job to make it, way clearer what these matches mean and why they're important. What would be really cool, in my opinion, is like, okay, you've got 2 streams going on right now, right? During group stages. Like, I want to have a sound alert. Beep. It's like, Soul just took down Has 2-0. We don't have to talk about it long, but I feel like the mainstream should have clearer, maybe like live updates. Not after every map, but every best of 3 that ends. I think there should be like a clear, proper update, and not like after 3 series, or, let's take a look at who beat who on the B stream, because that's when those matches feel a little bit less important if we bring it like that.
Didn't we have something similar like that in summer? In fall right now, when the mainstream? Yeah, there was like a live update, something like Soul 2-0'd someone. I think there was like a on-screen thing.
But nobody looks at it. Because like you can, like, if you, like, as a streamer, I know nobody actually looks at anything that's written on the screen anyway. So like, it's right, like, you need like a Bing, and like we need a Bing as well to know to talk about it, because we don't look at the live feed, we look at we're in game. We're in game, yeah. So unless you're like looking over at the right moment, it's like easy to miss. Like, sometimes it's very easy to, like, you look over and you're like, oh, by the way, this just happened. But like, I think I only did it once because I only saw it once. And like, if there was like a bit of a Bing, or like a producer can just say like, oh, this match or something, then we can obviously really easily bring it up, and it's worth bringing up. It's just that's what Roddy's saying. Like, we need that little extra something to make sure it's talked about, other than just sometimes it gets mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, the days that I was commentating, weirdly, you're right. You're watching in-game, right? You're not necessarily watching the live feed. I do feel like that could quite easily be facilitated by the producers that are in our ears. Because whilst I do like the producers there, I think they're very, very hands-off, like ultra hands-off, to the point where they could be giving you a little bit more prompt in the right direction. In regards to some stuff, and something like that, if that appears whilst you're in game, and if it's not in the middle of a huge fight or something like that, which is very easy to identify even for someone who's a layman, could easily give you the kind of that poke and just be like, this is the update, and that would be nice.
The thing doesn't
go ahead, Wardy.
I was just gonna say, before we go too far off track, just go back to what Roddy was saying about enjoying this as like a viewer and stuff. Yeah, I think this is a really cool format. I actually think in the future I'd love to see something like this maybe continue, like in terms of like maybe like not like every day of the week, but I feel like if we had like say like Wednesday and Thursdays were like European like round robin days, like I don't know how you would do it or how it would fit into other tournaments and stuff, but like I feel like that sort of consistency could really do well for StarCraft, for people knowing, on these evenings I can tune in and watch a high level, proper production show. I think that would be really cool to like keep going off the back of all of this, like even when we have live events again and weekend events, because I always think StarCraft really struggles off of a weekend event popping up and no one knows about it because we've had no build-up. We had like Challenger that popped up over 4 days or something, and that was it. Like, that's people's only warning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the idea of having just a smaller version of this. Like, the prize money doesn't even have to be as big as it currently is, but and then maybe a couple of the top guys will sit it out, right? Maybe there is no Reina, maybe there is no Serral, but I still think like a format like this would be awesome indeed. 2 days of the week, like not 6, because that takes up everybody's time. But yeah, and then like you don't even have to broadcast if the tournament is smaller than what it currently is. You don't have to broadcast every match. You can just kind of pinpoint like the biggest matches. But I think something like this and the format the way it is right now could absolutely work. And I'd love to see it stay as well.
I think it shows in the ESL weeklies, right? Like we have very high-level players competing every week for $400 prize pool, but even just a small amount of EPT points. And I think the viewership is not so bad for these weeklies, and the matches are really high level because Europe is just really flourishing in the on skill, really. And I think if you would have this kind of like additional tournament, like you say, Wednesday, Thursday, I would absolutely want to compete in that just to increase my skill. And as a viewer, I would like to have the stable evening that, hey, at this time I can tune in for something very interesting.
One of my main criticisms about the days that are the long days, like when you're covering EU and NA as well, would be that it's 2020, guys. I think there needs to be more than 2 commentators on a 10-hour broadcast, if I'm perfectly honest. I think it's a bit much.
I think they should not to, like, so this comes from someone who obviously got to do a lot of hosting, and that gave me like a lot more days, right?
Yeah.
So I got to work like way more days than Roddy did this event because I hosted a bunch. I actually don't think they should have a host. I think we should have 3 casters and just do like I think everybody is capable of like at least you could have someone who's like the host still, but they still rotate into the casting because I think it would benefit us so much just being able to do 2 series on, 1 series off, because having to do like every series with like a 3-minute break, and the thing is they say we can have like a longer break, but that's like 10 minutes. Like that doesn't change my day, right? That doesn't give me a few minutes to shut off or anything, like, or like even go make food. It just gives me time to actually like stand up and get a proper drink. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like that's like the main feedback I'm given this season. Is like I really just feel it would do so much better.
I know.
That would be amazing to see Smix casting then. Like she's hosting a lot. Let's show the real knowledge that he has about the game. She's asking these all complicated questions in the interviews, like she knows what she's talking about. Where do you think she's getting that from?
Smixy does her best.
I think Smix could do it, if I'm perfectly honest.
Like, C will never do it, but the funny thing is, I actually think if C would really try, C has listened and watched us so much over the years, Smix could actually cast. C doesn't want to do it.
To listen, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that would be the only maybe like slightly exception when it comes to casting. But other than that, I think Wadi makes a pretty excellent point. I mean, the funniest thing about this is that, like, I rented in private to these boys about it as well, but for the entire regular season, they use 2 casters for the entire day. So you do like 5 matches from Europe and then 4 from America or Latin America, and they're like 2 casters, that's it. Then season finals come along, and there's like, all right, Maynard and Zombie Grub, you guys just do the finals, and then Wardy and Fear Dragon, you do a semifinals. Can you guys do that? It's like, wait, we go from 9 series with 2 to like using 4 casters for 2 series. Like, I understand maybe finals day, but that makes no sense. If anything, it should be the other way around, right? Because the final day is so ultra short.
No, indeed. I mean, even if it is for some reason a budget thing to not have more than 2 casters in for the 10-hour days or whatever, as you say, Wardy, your answer to it is a pretty decent answer. Because, I mean, aside from, again, like a Smix, who...
Yeah, Smix is like the odd one out, right, in that scenario.
Yeah, but aside from that, we're all, I think, very capable of sitting down and casting and hosting, to be perfectly honest. So
you were perfect, James.
Thanks.
I think it would actually do good for the show as well, because then I feel like the between game segments also become more interesting because you get the point of view of someone who didn't cast the game instead of just someone whose job it is to host, right? Because I think right now the problem kind of is like we come into the pre-show or after show, and it's like you're basically pre-show, you're being like, okay, I think this is going to happen and that's going to happen, and you go in game and that happens, right? And you come out of game, and you're like, well, this was slightly different, but we already explained it because we literally just cast this series like 2 minutes ago. So I really feel like that bit gets a bit repetitive as well.
Yep.
So I feel like at least then you've got someone who, because yes, right now you've got the host who didn't put in their point of view, but the host's not really meant to put in like, they're not meant to go on the tangent. You're meant to direct people, right? So it's like, it's a different role. So you're basically asking, so guys, just repeat what you said in that series already. And like, it's like, I feel like that's a bit tough even just to answer, because I feel like a lot of the time I'm like, well, I just said this, like, sort of thing.
You know, James, and like to go back to a budget issue, because that would obviously be a very serious point, right? I can't suddenly spend like twice the money on all the casters and hosts that they've done so far. But if they offer us half days, that also means all of us will get more days. So then you can also say that you'll set up for 60% of what would have been like a previous full day, and then you get 60% for a half day. But then if you get double the days, then in the end, like we get a tiny bonus,
Yeah.
but we also will perform way better. I don't really see anybody would have a big issue with it. Like I highly doubt any of us are going to be so stubborn. It's like, no, I'm going to get paid the same amount for 4 best of 3s as I get for 9, because that doesn't make any sense, of course.
Yeah. There's definitely ways around it, for sure. It's we'll see what they want to do. I mean, I think that obviously, I mean, maybe they listen to this, or maybe we pass on our feedback and stuff like that. But I think overall, that's where the quality could easily be improved. I think the quality was improved from summer to fall, but then another easy improvement is this avenue. And yeah, I guess if we'll see if that comes to fruition. Moving on a little bit here, we're still on this topic though of the DreamHack finals, and I want to ask you guys now: is Reina the best player in the world currently, Roddy?
Yes, and he has been for a little while.
A little while.
I'm convinced he is.
Yeah. I mean, you can't deny he's just beat Cyril like 3 times in a row or something now. Or maybe it's only twice, but I actually think it's multiple times because he won the Doyu Cup in between.
I think he
last
won
season and
4
this
out
season.
of the last 5. I can look it up for you. But
I think that's true. So it's something like that. Like he actually has a winning overall record against Cyril. So like
Yeah.
I think the thing is as well, like Reno actually looks really dominant in stuff like ZVT as well. Whereas Cyril really looks, I don't want to say hit or miss, but like I actually feel like Clem is more competitive against Cyril than he is against Reno in the last couple of times they've met. And I do think that's obviously a bit to do with stylisticness, but I actually feel like Reno also doesn't struggle against the Korean Terrans, whereas Cyril kind of gets a little bit touch and go a lot more often. So
yeah, I mean,
it
like
feels
what,
a little bit like Reno is just a stronger player at the minute.
the danger of like making arguments like this is that it's starting to sound like we're like trying to describe how kind of weak and average Cero is. Like, no,
Yeah, I
guys, that's
know.
not what we're trying to do. Like, Cero is still beyond amazing at this video game, and in my eyes, he's the greatest player to ever play this game. But right now, I do think you can see that Rainer is a little bit better than Cero in certain parts of the game. It's still awfully close. Like, it's not that like Rainer is suddenly an overwhelming favorite against Cero right now or against other players that are close to their level. But like I looked it up as well, like 4 out of the last 5 times that Rainer played against Cero, Rainer won. Like a 4-1, a 4-1, 3-2, 3-2. He lost one series 3-1, but that was in the upper bracket final of the event. He then still won overall, like what he said, the Doju Cup. Like I think at that point you're making a very strong case for yourself.
Mana, thoughts?
The way that I think about Raynor is that he has a very high, like a high peak, and he can be like this sometimes, like whatever.
Right.
But Cyril for me is like a guy who's steadily at a high. He doesn't really have lows. He doesn't really have high peaks. Raynor is definitely one of the best in the world right now. There's no question. I mean, how else can you prove it at the moment? Like he's winning all the tournaments, and there's no other test that he can have. But we still need to consider the time zones and the NA server that he's playing the season finals on. It was still 5 a.m. or whatever that was for Trap at that moment. But this is the best we can have right now. And this is the best kind of judgment that we can make out of the tournament's results that we have. So Raynor is the best in the world in these conditions right at the moment, I think. And I think that's fair to say. He cannot be tested anywhere else at the moment. And I think he's very strong. But also Raynor, the way that I think of him is a great Cyril sniper. He knows how to win versus Cyril. And I think, for example, I think Cyril versus Trap would be much more one-sided than Raynor versus Trap. I think Cyril's ZVP might be even stronger. But I mean, it could not be the case. I don't know. Like we will not see that. But I think Raynor has a very high peak right now, and he's definitely has to be considered one of the best in the world, if not the best.
Roddy,
I mean, I think Raynor looked incredibly dominant against Trap in the first 2 games. Like at that point, I was like, this is gonna be a 4-0, and that's actually gonna suck for StarCraft. But it's just the way it is. Then suddenly, like Trap just played absolutely amazing and really pushed Raynor to the limit. I even thought that Trap had it, but I don't really like the term like Raynor is a Cyril sniper, because then it seems that Cyril is a lot better at other aspects of the game than Raynor, and Raynor is just good against Cyril. Like I think we're selling Raynor short there. I think Raynor is incredibly complete at the moment. And especially in ZVT, it's like how Wadi said, like Reynor against Clem, that was amazing and it's still pretty damn amazing. But right now, I'm like, Reynor's going to win that. Clem against Sarah, I'm like, this is 50-50. And I don't have that feeling with Clem against Reynor. So to call Reynor a Serral sniper, I feel like we're selling him short.
Oh, I mean, I don't mean in a way that Reynor is an incomplete player or he's weak on other matchups. I think he's excellent at finding Serral's weaknesses much more than anybody else. I think this is just his very great attitude to the game, that he can snipe Serral much more easily than anybody else. I didn't mean it in any selling short way.
I think Serral's ZVZ was also a bit wonky as well. We just never really noticed it because he always, like, if you think about when Serral first started losing stuff, it was kind of always in ZVZ, right? Like, you know, he got kind of close against Lambo a few times. You know, a laser started beating him this year. So it kind of made me think, like, has Serral's ZVZ been a little bit like, you know, has that been his weak point, but we've never really picked up on it because, you know, we just never really noticed. No one was actually beating him. So I kind of think that. But the other thing I wanted to say is I think Serral always thrived in the live environment, like on the stage and stuff. Like, he never really seemed like he was bothered by nerves or like, you know, he would always clutch it out, right? And I think that was always something that was like a big strength for him. I wonder if he's like, you know, we've seen him getting like really frustrated on like camera lately and stuff. And I'm like, I almost wonder if he's just like, oh, I'm just sick of playing at home. It doesn't feel like I'm in that big event. It maybe doesn't like, you know, get him in that right mindset as much. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do gotta say though, there is still that like semifinals against Zesto, like, and that's still a bit of a miracle to me because that was the big one, right? That was supposed to be the crowning achievement on Serral's career. Like he was gonna win Katowice 2020, and we're like, oh my god! And I still don't like. Yeah, you could say that the adapting was kind of new back then, but normally Serral doesn't need weeks to understand what he needs to do, and he already showed that he had some great ideas. Like that is still a mind blowing best of 5 to me that went the way it did.
Yeah.
A follow-up question from this then is, obviously in Europe right now, we're talking about Serral, we're talking about Reynor, we're also talking about Clem as well, and it's almost this kind of this triangle of players right now that seem to, in some way or another, have each other's numbers, with Reynor having everybody's number, it seems. Is Clem, are we going to be talking about Clem like this in 2021? I feel like the last 3 tournaments he's only been eliminated by Reynor, and like we're talking about him in the same vein as these guys. Is Clem the Serral, the Reynor of 2021? What do you think?
Clem is on a big rise at the moment, and I'm just saying, like, he just got signed by Team Liquid, and suddenly he's winning everything. And I don't know, like maybe it's just a coincidence, maybe not. Maybe we have great practice regimes. Who knows? I think Clem. I think just meta of StarCraft has changed a lot recently, where it's much more of an actual game of back and forth. It's not one timing or 2 attacks, and just a matter of a couple of strategies. I think like fighting over the creep. I think TVZ is just overall very, very fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
And Clem is really good at these games in TVP, in TVZ. I don't really know much about his TVT, but in the 2 matchups, even though he's like complaining about Protoss, oh, I hate playing versus Protoss, the Protoss are so OP. And then you watch him play TVP, he destroys stats, he destroys like Zess and other Protosses. It's just incredible what he can do. And I think he can only get better. I don't think he has reached his peak yet. So I think to answer your question, James, I think we will definitely see more of Clem, but is he going to reach Reynor Serral level? It's going to be tough to say because he still needs to compete with these guys to win the championships.
Yeah.
Clem's still inconsistent, if you ask me. Like you can see Clem lose to like players. I'm not trying to talk down anyone, but like you see Clem lose to players in like the ESL Cup weeklies all the time. Like he loses to Max Packs and online events. I know it's got that different feel to it, but the thing is, Reynor doesn't lose those matches, right? Like that's the difference right now, and it actually makes me feel. It makes me feel as though Clem has like. I feel like Clem's like super good in TVZ because it really plays to all of his strengths, and that's why he really struggles in TVT. Because in TVT he plays this sort of like he wants to play quick and aggressive and everywhere, and he just falls apart because of it. And like you can't play like that in TVT. So I think like Clem's got a lot of positives, but there's definitely like a lot of refinement to find in his play. Because I also feel like that's what goes wrong in his TVP. Because you know in DreamHack he lost to Geralt, right? And you know Geralt had a hell of a run as well. But that's a result you just don't expect to happen from someone who was like, you know, had a really good shot of winning the tournament. You know, so to me it's just certain matchups or certain play styles for Clem just don't quite click because but his playstyle can fall apart quickly because if he can't get the aggression rolling,
Yeah.
he can't adapt to like the longer. Like he can, but like he struggles because he goes so hard, or he relies so heavily on that kind of faster playstyle.
Roddy?
Yeah, I mean the loss against Gerald, he lost to Void Ray Proxy, right? And that's like in a group stage.
Oh, the
It's not like
second
he
game
got
was kinda
completely.
longer, though.
Yeah, okay, but I don't feel that he really got outplayed, from the beginning to the end. I think I agree with both of them. I think Clem is not done improving yet. Clem will still get better, and it's just super fun and exciting to finally have a young, fast foreign Terran, not necessarily like a strategic mastermind who's good in positioning. Like no, Clem kind of plays like the Korean Terrans used to play. It's just like mechanics, it's raw skill. It's really fun and awesome. But I think it's hard to say that anybody is going to necessarily be like Sero and Raynor. I'm not saying that Clem won't get there and even maybe eventually be better than them. That's very possible. But what Clem and Raynor, well, especially Sero, of course, but Raynor now to some degree as well, how consistent they have been and how long they've been on the top and just almost never lose. Like you can't really predict anyone to do that because it's not normal. Like what Sero has done is just not normal. Like a lot of people call him the GOAT for a reason. And how freaking good Raynor has been right now for 2 years. And I feel like the only 2 times that Raynor truly disappointed all of us is Katowice 2019 when we had some hopes, but we knew that maybe he's not totally there yet, but he showed us in 2018 that he was getting good. So that was a really bad tournament. And then Katowice 2020 was like, okay, that just should not have ever happened. That was way below Raynor's standards, but I think he has already redeemed himself for that. But to predict anybody to be as good as those two are and how consistent they've been, I think that's a crazy prediction, because how do you predict anyone capable of doing what Sero and Raynor have done?
Yeah, that is fair. That is fair. And I know that we're talking about, 3 of these legends of StarCraft 2 now at this point, Raynor, Serral, Clem. But what about M. Canning, all right? Like, actually, one of my favorite stories of this entire fall series, to be fair, Wardy.
Yeah, I mean, M. Canning was like, it's like the storyline we always wanted or something, right? It's like, for me especially, it's like it's finally someone who isn't just like the top. I know we've had some new like entrants into like the top of the top players lately, so it's become a bit more varied and different. But I feel like for example, like there was a few years ago when like the top 8 of DreamHack was just the same, or the top 8 of WCS Circuit was just the same 8 players in the top 8 of the tournament every single time, or like it was always 7 of the 8, and it's like that's always kind of true, right? The best players will always be in the top. I always thought I was a little bit kind of stale in StarCraft, but then him kind of just shows up and he's like, "No, baby, let's go." And he's just like so fun to watch, right? He's like he plays a fun style. He didn't just win anything easily. He like had to draw it out to the late game and like win there. He didn't win cheekily. Like it was just really fun and entertaining to watch. And then you get the M. Canning, interview afterwards, so it's like a bonus. It was it was great.
The most fun part about this is how he enjoyed the victories. I think you could see it on his Twitter as well. Like, yeah, I did it. Let's go. I don't want this to ever end. And I think this kind of happiness is just so joyful to watch. And even though he's still like maybe not the very best player on NA, you still have the Neeb, the Scarlet, the Astra. Astra is really, really good. But to see this kind of level of play from him as a NA player, it was very, very fun to watch, and I enjoyed this story for sure.
Roddy?
I loved every second of it. Like Mana said, I think the word that we're all looking for maybe is contagious. It's just so damn fun, and it makes you happy to see M. Canning being that happy. If you didn't enjoy that run, then I think there's something wrong with you, and you need a checkup or something, 'cause it was beautiful.
I think the prospects of North America, from my perspective, have never looked brighter. Or for a long time have not looked this bright. Is that a fair assessment, Wardy? I feel like, you've got your Astrayas in there, you got your Futures in there, who are kind of like up and risers when it comes to their eventual push towards the top.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like it used to be the Scarlet and Neeb region, right?
Yeah.
And now it's very, very different to that. Like, Scarlet and Neeb are not. Your dog's running around in the background. It's too cute. Yeah, it used to be
the
Scarlet.
You were looking at the dog, Wardy?
Yeah, I was looking at the dog.
Oh no! I get Natalia to bring the dog. Wait,
Scarlet. It was the Scarlet and Neeb region, and now not so much. Now it's a little bit different. So I'm a fan. I've actually enjoyed watching NA way more because it was kind of boring before, right? It was kind of like the same again and again, and you're just waiting for that Scarlet Neeb final. So yeah, it's definitely a lot more exciting now.
Roddy, you said you looked a bit skeptical, or sounded a bit
Yes.
skeptical when I said this. Go on.
Yes, I'm definitely on the Australia hype train. Australia, fantastic. Really put himself in the mix right now. There's no more like Neep Scarlet region. No, like that region now
Yeah.
also belongs to Australia. But other than that, I don't know if I agree with like that many promising prospects. I love Future. I think he's a great kid, and I really enjoyed spending time with him in Australia. But I feel like he is stagnated for a while. He was on a big rise, but lately, in my opinion, it's been a bit disappointing. I know that he can do better, and I hope that he will do better, but it hasn't really looked like it lately. Vindicta also, I felt very promising. Seems to be stagnating a little bit as well. Silky, once upon a time, like big rise, feels like he kind of stagnated too. So I don't know if I would agree. Like, obviously, it's always fun to tell the communities, like, wow, NA looks better than ever. But I personally don't really agree with that. Like, I'm very happy with the level that Australia has reached. But a couple of the other guys that I had very high hopes for, they haven't really delivered yet, in my opinion.
There seems to be just a huge gap, right? After the top three, the Neep, Scarlet, Australia seems like the clear top three. And after that, it's like, who's clearly the fourth, who's clearly the fifth, and so on. I think it's like they can't even compete very highly with the Europeans. Like Future, as you said, used to be really good, and like he could compete with the Europeans. I could personally have some troubles playing against him myself for sure. But right now, NA is strong with the top guys, but other than that, I don't think they are that good after that, I think.
All right. Well, I know that we have limited time and we still have more topics to talk about. So we're going to move on. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for talking about DreamHack. The funny thing is that I have actually so many more questions I could ask about this, but we do have a finite amount of time that we can actually focus on things. Let's talk about a new development when it comes to the gaming industry as a whole, because, of course, we have something that is very, very interesting to see. And it is Dreamhaven has now opened up here. And at the helm is Mike Morhaime and a ton of Blizzard veterans. And when I say Blizzard veterans, I mean to the extent of people like Dustin Browder, Alan DeBeery, Chris Ziggedy joining in there as well. So for me, in my mind, this is an extremely exciting development because it really feels like in their mission statement and in their outlook, they're not only they're not taking aim at Activision Blizzard by any stretch of the imagination. They know they can't compete to that level, but they are very, very clearly setting out the original Blizzard value. Oh my god!
I'm sorry.
I love it. That's so cute, mate.
Well, everything I just said is now meaningless because
I'm sorry. He just wants to cuddle.
dogs everywhere. Look at it! Ah! All right. So, because Mana has rudely interrupted my...
Not me. What have you done?
Oh, dear me. You always know that they've done something when they're being nice. Yeah. Okay. So, anyway, long story short, it really does feel like they're setting out those original kind of Blizzard values, those Blizzard core values of like wanting to create something that is, very well put together, good quality and things like that. So, Roddy, I'll start with yourself. What do you think about Dreamhaven and its current position?
I mean, it's really hard to say a lot about this, right? Because we have all kind of read the same thing. And I feel that almost all of us feel the exact same way. This is super exciting. It's fantastic news. It really gives me the idea that, there's been always a lot of talk, right? Like, when are we going to see the next big RTS? Well, making a good RTS is apparently incredibly difficult because almost nobody is able to do it. Whenever we do get a new RTS, it's slower than, I don't know, any game that we played in 1995. And they're like, it's strategy, guys. And we're like, no, this doesn't make us nerds happy anymore. But we know that those people can make a proper RTS. And if the ideas and the core values of the company are to just make an awesome game, I mean, I can have so many stories about Mike Morhaime that will show his passion for StarCraft 2 if anybody ever doubts it. Like, I think everyone always knew that Mike is a massive StarCraft fan, but I'll never forget that I actually visited Mike Morhaime's house once when he hosted a GSL viewing party. A whole bunch of Blizzard employees came over. I was there back then with my girlfriend, and it was really fun. Obviously, a super beautiful house. Like they had a catering trucks, open bar, and basically everybody's socializing and drinking some. But there's StarCraft everywhere, but people are having fun with each other. At one point, I was like, man, I think it's like innovation against Spartan coming up. I was like, okay, I really want to watch this. It was a bit crowded in the cinema room, a bit crowded in the bar. I go upstairs where they also had like a projector. I was like, oh, I'll watch the game there. I go the stairs up. Mike Morheim sitting by himself, just like enjoying the GSL while his entire house is full of people. I was like, man, this man truly loves StarCraft, and it's awesome. So. Yeah, there's not much we can say about it right now, but I am obviously incredibly excited. I've known about it for a while, and I do believe that if we are going to see a brand new good RTS, it could very well come from Dreamhaven, right? Like, I don't know anything about it, obviously, other than that they made the company a while ago. But yeah, it's hard not to get your hopes up. That's how I see it.
Well, I guess I'm kind of in the same boat, and Wardy, maybe you can talk to this, because like when I look at the people that they've taken on, like Dustin Browder, for example, of course, yes, there's all these memes of haha, Dustin Browder rocks and all that stuff, but Dustin hasn't worked on what is not effectively an RTS or Heroes of the Storm for the last 20 years. Those are the only types of games he has worked on in the last 20 years, Wardy. So for them to take on all of these guys, and I imagine, they might be headhunting some other people in the future kind of that are akin to this, I feel like they must be looking to try and make the next gen RTS, or at least hoping to. What do you think, Wardy?
I mean, I hope so, right? The thing is, you had so much kind of cool RTS potential, and I always feel like what kind of is missing is that they don't get like there was a game called like A Year of Rain that I did some work for, and this game was actually it was actually fun to play. It was a bit more Warcrafty than Starcrafty, but like it was genuinely fun to play, and I think that's like a really good sign because like if it's genuinely just fun to play and you can just spend a few hours playing it, then I think it has like big potential. But they had a couple of issues, and obviously a couple of issues held them back. And then their studio was like, "No, we're going to cut funding, and you guys basically your game's just scrapped." And it's like really sad because it's like they actually had a good vision, they had a good setup, they just needed to like fix some problems, but they didn't have nobody believed in them. They didn't believe because they put it out to early access. They were forced to put it out to early access too early, and because of that, it got like negative reviews, and like it just started this downward spiral. So I feel like something like this, I feel like Dreamhaven is like that's not going to be the same sort of attitude to an RTS because I think they genuinely believe in the genre, right? They have people who will
they
put
love
the
it.
investment in. Yeah, exactly. Like they want an RTS, right?
Exactly.
And like it's not just the people that work on it; it's the people that own the company also love RTS. So like that's why it's so hopeful and so like that's why I'm excited about it because I've seen other RTSs die because they didn't make the company's money fast enough or something. I just don't think that's the need for it here, and I still think it would make people money if they put the time and effort into it properly. I think this is the company that really could do that.
Yeah, seems that way. Mana, I know that you're a cheeky individual. You've played other games other than just StarCraft 2. What do you think about Dreamhaven?
I'm not following too much of gaming industry, but when I saw news about this, I actually I literally smiled and I was happy to read it. Then I see Mike Morheim is behind it, and I owe Blizzard so much of my life, and I see all these people that were part of my life, not directly, but because of the game that they have created and the games that they have created. I loved Blizzard in the past so much, so I'm really really happy to see this news. I don't want to get my hopes too high, expecting a brand new RTS and this is going to be a StarCraft 3, but from Dreamhaven or anything like that. But whatever they are going to develop, whatever game they're going to do, I will be there to play it, and I will definitely buy it if it's to buy. If it's free, I will play it because I just love these people, and I know that the game that they are going to create, whatever it is, it will be enjoyable.
James, I don't know about you, but when I look at all these faces come by, I'm like, hey. That's Blizzard. That's the Blizzard that I worked with. That's the Blizzard that I love. The people that have been so kind to me. It's like, oh, actually, no. These are all the people working at Dreamhaven.
They should have called themselves Sandstorm.
Tsunami or something. I don't know. No, but when you see all these faces and you know that these people are capable of working on awesome projects, and I mean, on top of that, like Mike and Amy, since they're kind of the ones who perhaps started all of this. they don't need to do this, right? Like if they want to live in the
not at all.
Bahamas for the rest of their life, they can do it. But these are people that love making good games, that love building up fun communities that are good to each other and make people's life better. Yeah, it's impossible not to get excited. Maybe we all shouldn't get too excited because you never know. But I think it's really hard to contain the excitement if you see all these people come by. Like these are the people that we all love, that we've all got great memories of, that have always been good to us, been kind to us. Like, yeah, it's hard not to get a little excited, I think.
That's the thing. I think for a lot of people from the outside looking in on us that have worked with Blizzard before, obviously for a lot of people they realized that there was a shift in Blizzard mentality, right, and a shift in direction. But I think for us, having worked with them, we felt it even that little bit more, where like working with them maybe in 2012, and then it started to slowly slip. We saw these guys all really caring about these products and stuff like that, and then the past couple of years it's been a bit everywhere. So we definitely felt it a lot, and to see Dreamhaven kind of where it is right now, that is a very, very exciting prospect for, as Roddy says, for a lot of these people that we have spoken to in regards to their ambitions, their frustrations as well with how Blizzard was in the past. We're not bashing on Blizzard by any stretch of the imagination. We still like what they're putting out as a product. It's just that the direction is very different for that company, and some of the people at the very top very clearly felt the frustration in that direction, Rotterdam.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak too much about that because obviously, I wasn't there. I wasn't part of the meetings. I don't know what was said or what was decided over the years. But what I do know is that a lot of those people we just saw come by, those people truly love StarCraft. They genuinely cared about StarCraft, and they absolutely did their best for StarCraft. And I think it's safe to say that if it wasn't for some of those guys that came by, maybe we wouldn't even have the awesome EPT circuit that we currently have. And I'm very grateful that Blizzard is still supporting StarCraft 2, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, Blizzard, bad, ESL, DreamHack, great. But make no mistake, if Blizzard didn't give money to ESL, like obviously we wouldn't have any of that, right? Like this is not charity, this is not all passion, even though I think we're very fortunate that a lot of very passionate people from ESL and DreamHack are working on our game, so they do care and they do try to make it better, but we still have to be appreciative to what Blizzard is doing, even if it's very hands-off and it's kind of invisible. Without Blizzard right now, we wouldn't be having the awesome EPT circuit. But yeah, we also know that a couple of years ago, it wasn't always that easy. There were a lot of battles fought on our behalf, at Blizzard Activision. It's like, please keep supporting StarCraft 2. And the people we just saw come by, we know that they always fought for StarCraft and fought for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And just for those people that randomly posted on Twitter, guys, what if Dreamhaven buys the rights to StarCraft 2? That's never going to happen.
Yeah, I don't really see that happening. It'd be beautiful, but that's not happening probably.
No, they'll have to make something new. Yeah. So yes, that is Dreamhaven. For me personally, I mean, I'm super excited about the concept. I think in 5 years' time, 6 years' time down the line, I think an RTS and an RPG or MMORPG. Those are my predictions for the two studios, but we'll see how it goes. All right, let's move on. We are getting onto maps.
Before 2 iPhone games with cards. You guys want to buy some more cards? No. Yeah, I like that prediction.
Maybe loads to do them. It doesn't matter. Anyway, let's talk about 1v1 maps. We've got 4 new maps. Is it joining the map pool now? So let's start off with the first one, Jagannatha LE.
Jagannatha.
Jagannatha.
I don't know if it's going to be like a yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's not really cool.
Yeah, it's the one on the guys. What do you make of it?
So I obviously I do the TLMC, the map contest. So I've actually cast all of these maps a whole bunch already. Okay. Jagannatha was like one of my top 3s in the map pool. It's like one of the ones where when it didn't get added to the map, like the ladder right away, I was like, God damn it, really? Like Death Aura? It's like you're putting that in instead of Jagannatha? Like, you're kidding me. And then turns out Death Aura is pretty good. So I actually really have high hopes for this map because the acceleration zones are in pretty cool places. Like, you talk about in Death Aura, I remember we had this famous conversation on DreamHack where it's like, do we ever see any fights in the acceleration zones? And then on that day, we saw like 5 big fights in the acceleration zones. On this map, you actually do fight around acceleration zones because it really helps you rotate around the map like a lot. So it's actually like really, it plays out really cool. It's like, it's not super easy like 4 base to take or anything, but it creates for like it like makes for very aggressive games while also being a pretty well-sized map.
Man,
Well sized. I think it's huge. It's like I didn't play too many games on the new maps yet. I did enjoy playing my practice games on this map. I didn't feel like, oh, this is an instant veto. And when you feel like that as a pro player, that means the map is probably good, especially because new maps usually are bad. That's what people say. They don't want to fight something new. They want to, believe in what they believed before in the maps and the playstyles and so on. So the way that I feel about this map is, it's okay. I think we need, at least I do need much more time playing on it. The acceleration zones are in a strategic position much more than on Death Aura. But the map is so big, in my opinion, it might become a problem because Zergs love the big maps, and Protoss, well, I don't really know how to feel about it, but maybe the meta is going to change a lot. I mean, right now meta has changed so much into the like 4 or 5 bases games already, so it might end up being fine. And it's also the like top versus bottom, which is not very often that we see this kind of layout, I think, on the maps. Where like you can take all the bases at the bottom or all the bases at the top. The 4th base is like super easy to defend. There's decent airspace to harass on these maps, but it's for me the first thing that strikes when I play this map is just huge. But it's fun for now, at least for me.
Roddy?
Yeah, I was watching Lambo's stream the other day, but I don't know if that was this map or not, but he had an epic game against Skillus. It was like the good old, I'm gonna watch one game before I start streaming myself. I tuned in at minute 9, and at minute 44, Tempest and Carriers were still getting abducted. And I'm like, Lambo! I gotta go work myself, but now I need closure. I want to see what happens. I don't know if it was this map. To be totally fair, I haven't played on the new maps at all. I most of the time just wait until they come out in the ladder pool, and then I play a crazy amount myself. But yeah, it looks pretty fun and exciting.
Yeah, we'll see. Was this the one that was helped with by Twitch chat? Yeah, it was. Okay, so we'll see how that goes. Let's move on to Lightshade. Yeah, I don't want to spend huge amounts on each of these maps here. For me, when I look at Lightshade, I'm like, the generic layout of maps. And that's how we go for Lightshade.
You're so nice, James. You're so nice.
I am a nice person. I know.
Somebody poured their heart and soul into this, and here James is like, generic piece of crap. Wow, James. This is so rude.
Wait. To be fair, I think StarCraft 2 maps right now are very formulaic. Like, all seriousness, like a lot of them look very, very similar. Am I wrong in this?
No, you're not wrong.
Okay. This is like,
I don't think so.
This is like the same layout of 4 bases we've seen day in and day out. Like, it's like Death Aura. No, it's not Death Aura. It's I can't think right now, but we've seen like this layout like so often.
I mean, this is the modern day Acropolis, no?
Yes, that's the map I was thinking of.
Yes.
It's Acropolis with a different middle.
Mm-hmm. Slightly different middle, yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can definitely see that.
Any other thoughts on Lightshade?
This map?
Yes, it's light, which is nice because we have too many dark maps in StarCraft 2, which makes everybody sad and angry. So let's get some more sunshine in this game, can we?
Yeah.
I think this was the most popular map in the map contest when we played it.
Yeah, it looks like the most standard map there is. Like, pro players would love it. I don't think this is the instant veto either. Definitely playable. We'll see how it works in the game itself, but definitely playable.
All right, next one. We have Oxide LE. We have this one's. To be fair, Roddy, they're kind of following your theme. A little bit lighter, doing what they can. What do you think?
Team looks nice. Looks big. I feel like Mana's not gonna like this map. I'm not sure why yet, but there's something wrong with it. I can feel it. Talk to me, Mana.
I think the position, like between the natural and the third base, it's going to be really
too wide open.
Tough to defend. It's like the rocks, as you can see, like they're defending. Like there could be tanks put in there. I think quite easily to push between the natural and the third base. I mean, this is not instant veto for me yet, but this is starting to become, do I really like this map, or maybe I should play the others? Maybe I like Submarine more than this. I have this kind of feeling starting about this map, but I don't have a decision yet made because there's simply not enough games for me to play on this map.
So,
What-
yeah. So I mean, don't take anything I say from the map contest like too for granted, because obviously, like, this is when the maps were like seen the first time and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This map was vetoed 53 times.
Wow.
The next map vetoed was vetoed 18 times.
Oof.
So
Oof.
I put this pretty much in every single series, because the way it works is like you don't have every map available for every series.
Yeah.
So it's like basically when one map gets played less, it goes in every series until it gets played, right? So it gets played the same amount. Everybody, every race, every matchup vetoed this map. I even think in the end we had to force it to be played first map in the semis and the finals, and it still got played the least. So like whatever it was, first impressions, people hated this map.
It seems
Hmm.
good for Terran, no? Like it feels
Well,
like this is
I
a
mean, you
Terran
know what I
map.
say, Roddy? Terrans don't really exist in tournaments, so that's probably what went wrong. Yeah, not sure. Maybe that's why.
All
I
right,
think
on to the next
I,
one.
I think it can provide some sick TVTs by the looks of it. Like if I think of this
Yeah.
map and
I
I
agree.
can see some 20+ minute clam against Big Gabe action. Like it
Yeah.
could be fun.
Hmm. All right, Romanticide LE. Romanticide. Whoa. Yeah, that's purple. Oof. I mean, yeah, you're getting your bright colors. I'm going to be honest. This one looks different, actually. That's surprising. What are we thinking?
Yeah, this is the weird one, I think, of all.
Yeah.
This is not the standard map. First things comes to mind, freaking Reach Vespin geysers. Why do we still have this in the game? I really hate the Reach Vespin geysers or gold minerals. I don't think it's I don't think it should be in the game, but we still have it. There is the like small amount of minerals in the middle of the map, as well as like next to the third, which is like next to the Reach Vespin geysers. Again, very good position for like tanks and drops and so on. For Zerg, it's an easy fourth base with Reach Vespin geysers, and very easy position for like swarm hosts and so on from below the natural. This map is the instant veto for me from the new maps so far. I dislike this map.
Okay. Roddy?
Sounds like we got a hater in the building.
I mean, it's purple. It's Zerg map, right? Like,
It's
anyway.
pretty, but I don't like it. I maybe the more I play it, maybe I'll like it more. Maybe I'll find something. But for the current state of skill that I have, this is not the map I want to play.
I think I'm gonna have a good time on this map. I do think pros are gonna veto it a lot, but I in general I find excellent ways to entertain myself. Some nice baboon builds, some rich Vespian geysers. I love rich Vespian geysers. Mana, you should speak up about barcodes. Why the fuck do we still have barcodes on the
Oh
ladder?
my god.
But don't
don't
hate
know.
on rich Vespian geysers.
I mean, barcodes. I don't really see that many barcodes anymore, to be honest. So once we got the MMR reveal, I think a lot of the pros have started playing on the main accounts, or yeah. I mean, basically, you can even tell a player from barcodes MMR. I don't hate the barcodes, but
Yes, on your
I don't
high
really care.
hill you can, because like yes, like there's like 7 guys who it could be. Like if you're in the middle of a pack and then there are like 40 guys who it could be, it's a little more difficult. You should think of the common man every now and then, man, and not sit on your high 6.8k MMR horse.
I just dropped to 6.2 the other day. So.
No, I don't believe that. Fuck off.
Yes, I have dropped on my stream, and Big Gay was laughing at me for it, and he deservedly so, because I am in not a very good shape at the moment. I just climbed back yesterday to 6.4, but yeah, I'm not in a good MMR state, so I can understand your pain, Kevin, from time to time. I have started playing the 5.8 guys, 5.7 much more often than I have.
All right. No, I think this map is. I think it looks pretty. I don't know. It's gonna be wild. I think. Barty, can you tell us something?
No, not really. It's got like the mineral blockers, right? So it's what was that map which also had the mineral blockers on?
Yeah, the ice map, right?
Yeah, a few seasons ago. But
I know which one you mean.
that bit, it's very interesting because you can like mine out to a forward rich Vespian. We actually saw a lot of long games on this map, which I think is kind of what you've got to expect. I don't think it was that bad.
Thunderbird, right? Is that the one? You meant?
Yes, Thunderbird's what I meant. Like you could like mine out minerals off to the side and stuff, and like or like forward, So that's it's got like that kind of aspect. I do think like in practice this map played pretty well, but like I'm also basing it off seeing it like 10 times. So yeah, like I can understand it definitely looks weird, it definitely looks like it should be strange, but
Mhm.
I wouldn't be super surprised if it turned out to play into pretty like fun macro games a lot.
Well, gentlemen, I know that we had another topic of BlizzCon Online, but we kind of need to get to questions before Wardy has to disappear. Guys, you excited for BlizzCon Online? Yes? Yeah.
I don't know
I
what to
mean,
expect of it. Do you guys think
yeah.
that there will be any StarCraft at all for us? Like,
No.
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 okay.
I,
Then I'm
I
not
think
excited, James.
I think the only thing that I'm interested that's probably going to be announced is TBC Classic for World of Warcraft. All right, that's it. Anybody else? BlizzCon Online? No.
It's I don't have any hopes whatsoever for this BlizzCon. I will tune in to see what's there, but I have no expectations. I will not be waiting with my calendar. Oh, this is the week of BlizzCon Online, like I used to do with
Yeah.
BlizzCons.
Yeah,
I
maybe they'll
mean-
Diablo 4 stuff. I don't know. Like, what do you
I
think?
think
more
if we
hope
set
with-
if we set the expectations low for StarCraft, it can only be good.
I'm not sure if that's even true.
Non-existent. Then it can only
Yeah.
be.
I feel like we might not even get a co-op commander at this rate. Like,
No, don't go there, Marty. Loco needs
Yeah.
his content. Okay, come on.
yeah, this is they just need to like they need something to announce stuff, I guess. And I think they're gonna announce TBC and maybe like a Diablo 4 update and maybe something on Overwatch 2. It's like it's gonna be like here's your updates and it's like don't forget they might mention that StarCraft finals is in like a week after this because it'll be Katowice. So, like,
Yes.
I would not be surprised if they don't even mention that.
Yeah.
because they would
No,
completely
they
forget.
will. They will. And I also believe that they may start selling some StarCraft pajamas in the Blizzard store. Like, I'm pretty excited to.
I'm solved. I'm sorted. Brilliant. All right. Well, that was BlizzCon Online. Guys. I'm glad you enjoyed that segment of the Pylon Show. Time for questions. What on earth can we talk about for that? It's really weird that that's how they're doing things, but anyway, yeah, it's to be expected. All right, back to the questions been asked here by our Patreon members. So we'll start with Zauber Garden. And of course, a big thank you to our $100 Patreon. So, I mean, all of our Patreon subscribers, thank you to them, but especially those $100 ones: Astrofin, Jerry Wang, Blinker, and Shane. So thank you very much, guys. You support the Pylon Show. Very much appreciated.
It's very
All right.
generous.
It's very generous indeed. Yes. Very, very. In fact, Zaubergarden, I can see his name right there. And here's all our $10 guys too. But Zaubergarden is our first question. And he or she asks, why was my piece of Rogue fan art not shown in last season's GSL finals? After close to 3 Hounded StarCraft themed drawings since the dawn of 2020, this was my high peak point for sure. Brackets, at least what Zerg is concerned. I'm switching to Terran now. Sincerely, Zaubergarden, Duriel. Okay, I don't know which piece of art they mean.
I mean, like, do we not get to see the art? That would like.
I would love to
Then
see
I could maybe tell you why, or maybe it doesn't even. Is it not even Pylon Show worthy? Is that what's happening here?
Maybe not. Maybe Cobra's deemed it unnecessary.
Let me see if I can find it. I don't have it. I'm not censoring it. I just don't have it at my fingertips. 1 second. We'll see if
Cobra
it
sounds more
exists.
awake now.
I've had like 2
That's the
coffees.
first time I've heard Cobra all day.
Yeah. Cobra just woke up. He's like, wow, the boys are still going. He's like, not bad.
Actually, he was off there for a bit. What's going on?
Like, we heard him at the beginning of the show, and he's like, I can appreciate the EU's waking up for the North American broadcast now because he sounded like this at like 1 a.m. his time. Poor guy. But yes, now they can all appreciate when us Euros get up and do a pylon until 6 a.m. Roddy, did you have to do that before? I'm sure you did.
Yes, in the first 100 episodes, I think I was actually the guest who was on the most Pylon shows, or maybe the first 75 or something. But yeah, I had a record amount of attendees because Jeff just reached out to me every week. He's like, buddy, sorry to do it, mate, but okay, are you available? And I could never say no to Jeff, so I always just said yes. So I used to be on like almost every second week. Over the last few months, it's been a bit less.
This is my second ever Pylon show, and I'm already taking over. So there you go. All right, moving on to our next question, unless Cobra has found the art.
Not yet. If I can pull it up in between, I'll bring it back up and mention it.
All right. Fantastic. He'll find it maybe later. All right. Next question. Evo asks, Okay, I always hear you and Tasteless, probably not me, talk about which pro gamers are super nice. Let's flip it. What pro gamers are just unpleasant to interact with? Use retired pro gamers if you don't want to shit talk current players. Lol. Any any answers to that?
All right, I'll go first because I know that you guys are going to try to make friends with everyone. There's maybe two guys on the European server right now that I'm not a particularly big fan of. One just kind of disappointed me. I don't want to mention any names about the Polish Terran player, and we talked about him earlier in the show. And then there's another Zerg who I thought was a bit annoying because he was a bit rude, but like those guys are not that bad. It's just like, sometimes you see things different and you have an unpleasant experience, but it's not that bad. Who I think two guys that I think actually are absolute dicks and disappoint me because I used to think that they were okay, but they have really pissed me off are Alestor from Spain and Majestic. Majestic is just really rude because he's kind of still good at StarCraft, but then he goes inactive and then he's like, oh, okay, I'm a 6.6k player. I'm going to beat up on some guys that are worse. He starts building next size in your face and drop question marks, tell you that you're so incredibly bad if you do somehow beat him. It's just like absolute dickish behavior for no reason. And Alestor has always been personally very nice to me. Maybe a bit annoying on his barcode, but that I don't mind about. But the tweets that he makes to pro gamers are really fucking stupid and annoying. Like he likes to bet on StarCraft, and every single time that somebody loses a series they shouldn't lose, he's accusing them of match fixing. And I think that's really fucked up, and I'm really pissed off about it. So I'm disappointed in those two.
Wardy, Mana, anybody?
Well, I was going to be like, one time someone didn't reply to me on Skype for a couple of days, so doesn't really compare to the Roddy story, does it? No, like, honestly, the worst I've got is, like, some people are like, for example, Mana is, like, one of the fastest people to reply when I invite him to a tournament. And some people I have to ping, like, 3 times for them to say, okay, and I'm like, okay, you're going to play, or okay, you read it, or, like, okay, you're going to reply in another 2 days, so... I don't know. I haven't had like a lot of bad experiences with players in particular.
Yeah, just because like when this question was read, there was nobody coming to my mind straight away. I think that's already a good sign. And whenever somebody is being a dick to me or just mean to anybody else, well, I guess to me, I just don't care. So I don't recall any kind of behavior like that. So I don't have anybody to pinpoint really at the moment.
Yeah, I like, especially for StarCraft, I don't really have anyone. Like, I just don't have run-ins with people, apart from Todd, but everybody knows that. Yeah, I don't know. All right, moving on. We have the GNU or the GNU asking in ASL. Oh God. All right, let's read this and answer to the best of our ability, gentlemen. In ASL, the round of 24, Bisu cannon rush Shine. Bisu killed one of his own pylons, and Artosis mentioned it had to do with preventing Shine from exploiting a bug which with his sunken colony. Are all bugs, brackets, not referring to the Zerg, winky face, just treated as allowed game mechanics? Or are some disallowed in tournaments? Oh, okay.
Some are disallowed in tournaments.
Yeah.
Like Observer over a turret bug. I'm not sure if it's even still in the game because I haven't seen it in years and years. So for example, when a Terran is building a turret and you hover an Observer over the turret when it finishes, the turret will still act as a detector, but it will not be able to shot at the Observer. And that was a bug that was basically like disabling a turret. It wouldn't shoot, but it would still detect the Observer. So you need like either a second turret to kill the Observer or a Goliath or a Marine or whatever.
Yeah.
There were some bugs like a flying drone, but I don't think it's even recreatable anymore. That's just the only one that I could come up with. I know there was it's not really a bug, but a new trick to recall more units.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I think you had like a group of units, and when you recall it in a standard way, it does recall a certain amount of units, but not too many. For our Artosis, it might be too many. But if you make an Archon, the units start to walk around in a Brood War fashion, and then when you recall the group of units that is bugging out, that's when you recall more units. So I think that's allowed into tournaments, but I don't think it's really a bug, but it's just a new trick.
Right.
That's what I can say.
That's the thing, right? Like for like Brood War, it's like I don't play Brood War. I've never really been into Brood War, but like there's like a fine line, I guess, between a bug and just like the way the mechanics of the game work, right?
Yeah.
So I think like Because I was trying, I could think of like a couple things StarCraft 2 related, but then it wasn't like a bug. It was just how the mechanics played out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, if you weren't allowed to use bugs in things like Smash Brothers Melee, the game wouldn't exist in a professional setting, right? So
Yeah.
stuff like that is very useful in some parts. So thank you very much for the question. DSP asks, in professional sports like soccer, geez Louise, these are all starting off brilliant for me. Training is focused around individual tasks and little actually playing the game. In StarCraft 2/esports, missing a level of professionalization where daily training would have a clear regime focus on individual tasks, strategy discussions, personal fitness, and sleep. Oh, is StarCraft 2 esports missing that level of professionalization? Interesting question, because I mean, me and Rotterdam lately when I was on his stream, we were talking about the rewind from replay and play again feature, which I think could be cool for replaying certain scenarios. But what do you think, Roddy, about this question?
I don't know. It's very different, and I really think that comes kind of down to each unique individual, right? Like some of that stuff could work for some people, but it may not really benefit others. I don't know. I do feel like there are certain ways of how people could get better in StarCraft 2 that are very underused, like the resume from replay function. Like instead of like going through the same first 6 minutes over and over again, why don't you take a certain 180, 150 supply scenario and play that out a couple of times so you can get practice in those specific late game scenarios rather than spending 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes on getting there over and over again. But yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time answering these questions because like, well, I don't know. I just simply don't know.
Yeah, StarCraft is there's so many intricacies to it, right, Mana, where everything is kind of interlaced with one another, so everything is benefiting everything else, and they're not as, I guess, basic as just dribbling a ball around cones. So, Mana, when you look at how this question shapes up, what do you think? Do you think you could, practice small little things to be able to add up to the accumulate, or do you just think practice games are just the way?
I mean, it really depends how much I would play, but I think like playing the game is a given, because when you say like in football or basketball, whatever, the game stays the same. The game doesn't change. You don't have different maps or different fields. In StarCraft 2, you need to keep up with this because some people will find a different position in a map that is going to be difficult, or a different time. I think playing is basically but learning the game all the time, because StarCraft is so complex. There are just so many things that you basically need to play the game to be better. I don't think we're missing a level of professionalization. I think people are being like more professional about like the sleep schedule or diet or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good thing. It definitely helps, and I think we can see it in all esports as well. Like we have like mental coaches or just coaches overall. It's not only just people playing games all the time and hoping to get better. So I think we are going into the right direction. I don't think we're missing anything.
All right. Well, next question. Hydro033 asks, what about a Where Are They Now episode, where we look back at some of StarCraft 2's retired players and see what they're up to now? ? And it seems that Cobra has reacted with a peepo yes.
So I can kind of officially answer for Artosis on this one. We've actually discussed this and thought about it, and the answer is probably maybe yes.
Wow.
Sounds
yes,
fun.
we're considering it, but I can't like promise it.
That was an official word from God there. Thank you very much, Cobra. Do appreciate that. All right, next question. Asrak asks. Yes. Ah, dear me. Hello, everyone.
Oh my god.
Hello, everyone. Any ideas for war chest skins you think would be neat? For example, I'd like to see an arachnid Zerg skin where the units have a lot of eyes and look kind of hairy. Forever
Of course, it looks kind of hairy.
Yeah. Forever yours, Asrak asks. There you go. Well, from my personal perspective, I would like to see a Zergified Protoss. There you go. How about you, Rotterdam?
Well, I've said this for a long time. I truly wish that Blizzard would like reach out to some companies that could potentially like work together. For instance, like you get a Red Bull skin on all your Marines, like little Red Bull F1 cars as Hellions and stuff like that. Like Red Bull would love that kind of stuff because they have loved StarCraft as well in the past. And I would absolutely just love to have like an entire like Red Bull skin set on my units, no matter what race you play. I think it'd be super cool. So
That's a
that is
fantastic
just-
idea.
that is the stuff I'd love to see. They can have like the little Red Bull air race planes as Vikings and stuff like that. Like there's so many cool things they could do if they would actually just work together with like proper brands.
Hmm.
Should we
Yeah,
have raid skin set for Zergs?
Raid Shadow Legends? Did you just say?
No.
That's what I
That's
thought as
good.
well, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
I'm sorry, Mana.
No. Not like this.
So what did you say then?
It's I don't know if it's in maybe it's just a Poland. I don't know. It's just like for mosquitoes or whatever. You use this what is it called, like a spray. raid.
Oh,
Ah.
we've just
I
been
was like-
conditioned by marketing. What can I say?
Yeah. I was like, wow, Mana loves Raid Shadow Legends. Did you already install the game and use me as referral link?
They'd pay for anybody. Anyway, moving on.
Your camera's gone, by the way, James. You might want to F5 this real quick.
Yeah.
Alright,
I feel like something like what about like Zergs that are built up from plants or something? Like something like that'd be cool. Like why does the Zerg have to like make everything creepy? Why can't we just have like a nice luscious green Zerg base? That'd be cool. They get a speed boost when they run across grass or something. I don't know. I just want the game to be like nice and happy and bright instead of like covered in purple all the time.
Why not just give them all ice skates and make the like it like? some
I'm down
ice-
for that. That'd be nice too. Snow
Yeah.
Zerg, like that'd be fun. Like anything that involves not just giving the Zerg more spikes, you know? Like,
Yeah.
because at some point we're gonna have a lurker that is actually just a ball of spikes. Like, He's like-
it's like a little
Look-
unicorn nose running around. Like,
I liked the Mecha Zerg. The Mecha Zerg was really cool. To be fair, I think that's
I
the one
think
that.
that is cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
but that's what I mean. Like, because that's like a whole like, it's just a different style instead of it being a different like without like because all the other Zerg ones are just like, you know, like they just have more spikes or they have like sharper claws or something. I don't know. Like,
You know, screw
Yeah.
it. Appeal to Carlaris' fantasy exclusively and just do like undead Zerg, right? Why on earth not? Like give them all bony appendages and whatnot, or you know, Orc Protoss. You know,
I would
screw
play
it.
Undead Terran. That would be cool.
Undead.
Can you imagine
yeah,
Can you imagine like I know this makes no sense, but like a Thor that's like a skeleton or something? Like,
yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I'd play
that'd be sick. Holy shamoo. Okay, all right. Moving on. Sortsy Cannon asks, would the game be better or worse off if upgrades were significantly more impactful? Brackets. Say 50% more damage / armor bonus compared to now. Would this benefit some timings more than others? What if there were more than 3 levels of upgrades? How would this change the late game? I would say, I guess, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, I think like the upgrades and the way they work currently with all the units, like, you know, things like going from 3-shotting to 2-shotting things, etc. I think they all work out really, really well. I think they did a very good job designing them. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with that. But something that I have been thinking about lately is that I do wish that we had more like ultra late game random upgrades that are like really fucking expensive, but that you can start getting like by the time that like games get really still, you know, like
Yeah.
a 500 upgrade that allows stores to jump around a little bit or something like not like a proper blink, but like anything like ultras indeed get their little burrow attack, just like
Yeah.
very late game stuff that's super expensive that makes units that are otherwise useless useful again, you know. And
Right.
I just feel like StarCraft is an amazing game and it's incredibly well balanced, but it's not that wild. And I do feel like StarCraft could be a lot more wild than it currently is.
Interesting. Thoughts?
Not wild, you say?
Yeah, like I think StarCraft is incredibly well made, but I do think like at one point, if like the both players have 5 bases and you're like maxed out on your 3/3 upgrades, then like that's kind of it. And then I rather wish that there were some very cool like special ultra late game, you know, upgrades abilities that you could unlock.
Morty, Mana?
yeah, I don't disagree with that because I feel like once you get to all the upgrades, it's like that's it, right? You're then just stuck with what you're playing with. I
Hmm.
guess the question then is not, does it just not add an extra phase of that? Of like, then you get to that next stage and then you get stuck again. But like, I still think it'd be more cool. But I guess the only problem then is how do you balance it? Because what stops you, I know it can be super expensive, but it could still be something that you see earlier in the game for certain units. So
Yeah, if it takes long and it's like I'm not talking about like expensive, like wow,
yeah,
200, 200.
yeah, no,
No,
I
I'm
know, I
talking
know what you
about
mean.
really expensive upgrades.
Yeah, no, I think it's like I feel like that would be the only way I'd kind of agree with like this question needing change because I think right now all the upgrades are pretty good and they work pretty well. But yeah, like super late game, that'd be fun. Like some extra stuff just so we can kind of like have another stage of the game instead of just like okay, we're here now. Let's let's just sit back and abduct things for 20 minutes.
That would be really tough to balance, though.
Yeah, of course.
I think.
I mean, an upgrade that's 1,000 and allows 5 Thors to combine to make fucking Optimus Prime is going to be
Exactly.
that'd be pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't know if it'd be balanced.
Would it though? Because it would just get abducted. You know what it is? It'd just be the new mothership meme.
Yeah, I
A si-
suppose.
A 600 upgrade for the mothership that allows it to cast acid rain. So the moment it gets abducted, it spreads rain all over the Hydras, and everything is left with 1 HP.
Mate, we should just make it another 400 and it can't be abducted anymore.
No,
There we
well,
go.
Ooh, that's meta. That. Oof.
An upgrade for Archons that you can combine Archons infinitely all the time.
Just get
And it just
No,
gets
like, but
bigger
no,
and
but-
bigger.
No, but the Archon is a kind of good example, man. Because the Archon is technically a really cool unit, right? Like, it's very
Yeah.
well made, it looks awesome, and it's very good in some specific fights where, like either PvP fights or when the army sizes are getting smaller. But, like, if you're maxed out, the 2 players are maxed, Archons are really fucking lame units, let's be honest. They just stand there in the front, they soak up some damage, they shoot once or twice, and, like, that's it. Like, there has to be a way to make Archons a bit more fun past minute 16, no? Like, come on.
Yeah, give them Maelstrom like it was in Boudoir. The Dark Archon, that would be lovely. But yeah, Archons are basically tanks in the late game. And tanks in a way that they take damage, not they
Yeah.
do splash damage.
All right, moving on. We have Walk Like a Human. 3 questions. Is this guy paying more for this? All right. All right. 1. Is there any particular reason why Serral or other top European players don't compete anymore in the GSL? Well,
Yes.
Yeah, they want to
Yeah,
give
they do.
the Korean scene a chance to develop some talent as well. Like if the Europeans come over and steal all the prize money, that's not good for the Korean regions.
it's a good
No.
point.
A realistic answer is just that it's a big commitment for players. Like obviously, Sarah would love to play in the GSL if it was down the street from him in Pornanen. Like he would gladly participate in it. But Sarah doesn't want to move to Korea by himself for 2 or even 3 months, live in a city where he doesn't speak the language, to then only participate in a tournament once every couple days. And then on top of that, he can't even participate in the European tournaments anymore because then he would have to play with 500 ping. It's simply not worth it for them. And like he doesn't have that drive. And he doesn't want to. If it wouldn't make him happy, if it would make him happy, he would do it. But they clearly don't get happy out of the idea of living in Korea that long by themselves. And you can't blame them for that, right?
Yep. All right, that answers that. I'd love to hear second question. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on Zaun and the use of Void Rays potentially increasing with the latest update patch. Let's say Mana.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying stuff. I think he's somewhat similar to me, where if standard doesn't really work, try to do something different than everybody else, and maybe it will work. Like I think Void Ray hasn't changed that much after the patch. It's cheaper, it's slightly faster, and it's easier to get G-baited into using it. But I don't think it's any stronger. The thing that I dislike about the Void Rays the most is that it's the best when it's not microed. Like even if it's faster, if you turn on the prismatic alignment, it's still as slow as it was. And if you move the unit, you're losing out on the DPS. You can like maybe use much more potential with the shield batteries defensively, but offensively they're still shit. And yeah, basically, thoughts on Zaun is he just tries something new. I think it's a fun player to watch, but I don't really have that much more to say.
All right. And question number 3. Could Dreamhaven... God damn it. Could Dreamhaven buy StarCraft from Blizzard?
If we
Moving
all
on.
pitch in,
I
yes,
mean-
let's go.
Actually, if you really think about it, like it's not gonna happen. But could they? I think they could. It's just that
Yeah.
everything's got a price, James.
Yes, I suppose so. I'm think like how much is Mike's net worth? Between like maybe 500 million and 2 billion or something.
What? 500 million? It has to be more than that.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm saying between those two numbers.
Yeah.
So yes, technically, but it's not worth it probably, I think.
No. And then obviously like Activision would never sell StarCraft, right? To like the people that used to work on StarCraft. I mean, no, they wouldn't let it happen unless they'd be like, all right, you guys want to pay like many billions of dollars?
Yeah, they would just make it cost so much. It's
Yeah.
unrealistic.
All right, next question. Red Gunner Guy asks, how do you make region strong, EU strong? How to make region SEA strong? Any thoughts?
Well, I mean, Europe's strong because they've had like a good baseline of events for a long amount of time, right? I
Mhm.
think obviously a lot of European players are able to kind of make the jump of being like, after they finish studying or something, they can make that jump to be full time. But the
Mhm.
problem is for C is like you don't really have that infrastructure there. But then the problem is like, how do you make that infrastructure there? It's like it's very difficult. Like it's just tough. Like I think for StarCraft 2, I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's like very difficult because you need like a lot of good players to get the infrastructure set up, to get new players to then build up with that infrastructure.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a tough question. I think the best way for the C region to become strong is for C players to train elsewhere, basically. Right? Like I don't think like C's weak. I think like Probe's looking great lately and stuff, but like C is just naturally disadvantaged, right? Like they have to play like they have
Yeah.
no good
Yeah.
server to practice on. So
Risky is
it's-
pretty strong too.
yeah, well, that's what
Well,
I mean. Risky practices in the beautiful, country of England. So it's a really powerful scene over here. He plays an Epic LAN 3 times a year. It's pretty much the GSL of Europe. So
Right, yeah.
it's pretty good for him.
All right. Let's we've got a few more questions that we need to get through before Wardy actually leaves, so let's keep going. Mr. Kalaris, what makes a good host? All right, I can sum that up in like three things. One, the charisma enough to just goof about and also just be confident in what you're saying. Two, I guess the goofy thing being a joker, messing around, doing what you want. Three, giving your co-analyst people the room to talk and not talking much yourself. There you go. That's that. Mr. Waddy, what makes a good StarCraft 2 streamer? Or Mr. Waddy?
Being fun, being entertaining, being good, and being consistent. Pretty much. Chat interaction, being consistent, and I actually think if you can interact with the chat well and be entertaining, and you're very consistent with streaming, you can be successful in StarCraft 2 streaming. I don't think it's like compared to other games where you can do that and have no success. I think you actually can be successful in StarCraft 2 still.
All right. Next question. Mr. Mana and Mr. Rotterdam, how to warp in more consistently. Forgot to do it every 14 seconds.
Well, if you do it every 15 seconds, that's perfectly fine then.
Great. Roddy?
I love how they ask you how you can be a great host, how they ask Wardy how they can be a great streamer. And then it's like, Roddy is like, well, I don't want to leave him out, but obviously this question is more towards Mana. How do I warp in? It's like, hey, I stream too, I've done hosting, and I commentate and shit on. Like, really? The warp
I mean,
in?
how to be a good host after this beginning of Pylon Show by James?
All right. I mean, to be fair, at least they spelt your guys' names right. Me and Waddy over here. Jamaican Wardy. Anyway. All right. And to all thoughts on 2v2 and 2v2 tournaments. I actually like the idea personally, but I mean, it's kind of hard to balance, I suppose, a little bit. Any other thoughts?
2v2 is kind of like a proper drinking night with your friends. It's fun once in a while, but don't overdo it, because then it's just, you're going to start feeling horrible and everything. That's 2v2 in a nutshell for me.
Yeah, the game is simply not balanced around it, and it can be very frustrating. The maps are not well balanced around it as well. It's just the game is not designed for it. It's fun, but I think it's all there is. I don't think it can be competitive.
All right. Moving on. Oblivious asks, for Kalaris, I knew you first from Heroes of the Storm. That's unfortunate. Is there a Kalaris from your StarCraft 2 casting / hosting? I I guess the closest thing that comes to it is the Haas incident, right? Like, okay, so to you guys, if you don't know what Kalara's core is, the other team will Mana definitely knows because he played that game a load. The other team would go over the other thing they're about to win, and then they would get the core down to 1%, and then they'd wipe. So, and then the other team would go over the other side and win the game. So I guess the closest thing is the Haas incident. I normally get good games though whenever I come back, so that's nice. All right. Anyway, for everyone, what cancelled or ended TV show or movie series would you bring back, knowing that the best writers and directors would be involved? I will start with Rotterdam.
I mean, my two favorite shows from a long time ago are Californication with Hank Moody and Entourage. Like, I enjoyed both shows so incredibly much, and I'd love to see, I'd love to see more of those. For my part, those shows, like, they can go on forever, and I will always watch them. So, it would be those two.
Wardy?
I don't know. Not too boy. I just like I'm not like I watch TV and stuff, but like not like a lot. Like I'm a very passive TV watcher. I just sort of like enjoy what I'm enjoying, but I don't think too much about it. So yeah, it's not really a kind of question for me.
Mana?
Yes, similar to Ori. I like watch some shows, but I don't really pay attention to like the directors or writers. Some things I do enjoy, some things I enjoy less. But yeah, I don't have a good answer for this.
I would pick Lord of the Rings if you could resurrect J.R.R. Tolkien from the dead. All right, there you go. Next question. Optional player asks Europe. Europe. When's the Canadian edition of the Pylon Show? Winky face. So I'm a retail store manager listening to your issues. RE 10 hours without breaks. Sounds like worker exploitation to me. Do you feel taken advantage of because esports is still new? Is there? Oh, I see what this is. Is there talks of casters union? I have so many questions. All right, so sometimes I don't experience this actually in any other esport anymore, where you really get put on for like 10 hours with like 3 people only covering it. I guess I don't know. That's sometimes the nature of StarCraft when we have these long days, but I don't feel it in any other game. I know that some of the Counter-Strike guys sometimes will have like long best ofs, and they kind of feel a little bit trapped in that. But sometimes that's the nature of Counter-Strike. It can go really, really long. What do you think, Roddy, when you look at this question?
It's very complicated, and for me, it's always been complicated. Because in some ways, I would be like, yeah, actually, I do think we're taking advantage of, and I think we work harder than talent in other games. On the other hand, I think it's also important to stay realistic, and like StarCraft is doing pretty good, but we're not the biggest game out there. I feel like it's really unfair towards the community when sometimes casters make a shine. We're like, oh, this is so hard to get by. We don't get anything. Like, we're not getting rich over here, but we actually get paid pretty well. And like, I play a lot of StarCraft myself, and I do my best to be a little bit competitive. To make the money playing what like most casters make, you have to be really fucking good. Like, obviously, we're not making Raynor, Cero, Clem money and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But as a player, it is sometimes so fucking hard. They travel to events, they put themselves through 3 days of competition as well. And we're just sitting there, we show up, we got some best of threes, we get a guaranteed paycheck. So I'm really conflicted on it, because on one end, I'm like, hey, I feel like all StarCraft talent, we're getting undervalued compared to different games, and we care as much, if not more, than the talent cares about their games. On the other end, it's like our players have it pretty tough as well. So you try to find like what's fair, right? On one end, it's like easy to go for personal success, but it's also important to like keep everything a bit balanced in the StarCraft 2 universe.
Yeah, Wardy is someone who casts for about 18 hours every 24 hours. Now, I want to ask you the same question. I do know that ultimately for you, it is also kind of your business, right? You are also the tournament organizer.
Yeah.
It might be a little bit different for you, but what are your thoughts?
So I mean, like I don't view it the same because like when I'm on my stream, I can like screw around and like if we have like a shittier series, I can just have like a calmer time. Like I don't have to pay full attention. Like someone's gonna shout at me for missing the Widowmine drop, but I'm gonna be like, well, guys, you know what? Like I've been casting a long time, but you can't do that in DreamHack. Like that's the difference. Like at DreamHack, you're meant to like it's the big tournaments, like one of the biggest tournaments of the year. You're meant to put on your absolute best.
Yeah.
You can't put on your absolute best when you're streaming for 10 hours with like 3-minute breaks. And the problem is to like get the break that you need. I mean, I actually just don't think you can do your best cast in like even like 5 or 6 best of 3s in a row. Like, obviously that's
Yeah.
more manageable, but like even that's tough. So
Mhm.
like, I feel like the thing is, this is only really an issue for like this event, right? For DreamHack, because even like okay, like at like other events, we're still there all day, but you do get like break series, you do get like time off, and like if you're on like the desk, you're effectively on and watching the games, but you're also only doing like a 10-minute segment while the casters do like an hour or so, right? So I
Mhm.
don't really feel like that at live events. It's just this DreamHack event because it is just you go on, you cast for like 10 hours or something, and you get like 3 minutes of breaks. And the problem is like if they take like a half-hour break to give you more of a break, you finish later at night, and we're already finishing at like 2 a.m. So we don't
Yeah,
want that
exactly.
anyway. Like
Yeah.
we kind of want there to be no breaks. So yeah, I don't think we. I'm kind of with Roddy. Like I feel like I get paid enough. It's just I want to put on like a good performance. And I do struggle to put on a good performance in this sort of setup. So yeah.
Yeah, the 2 days that I commentated, I will say that I think maybe for me there was a little bit of a high of like I'm getting to commentate again. This is fantastic. So it really didn't matter that how long I was going for. But if I was commentating constantly at those lengths, it is a throwback almost to 2012 through 2014 qualifier casts, which
Yeah.
you're doing solo in that little
Mhm.
ESL studio that me and Roddy have worked in way back in the day that's now knocked down, I think. But
Mhm.
it's kind of a bygone time almost in StarCraft 2 history, I suppose, Roddy.
Yeah, it really has, and like once again, it's important to keep in mind like where StarCraft is. Like on one hand, we don't want to make crazy demands because our game is not the same as Dota and League. And if I see how hard the players have to work, and like it is important to keep caring about the players too, even if you're a caster, because without players, we have no fucking games to cast. So they are important as well. So in that way, you don't want to push your own agenda too much and try to get some short-term gains out of it. It's like, oh, let's make those extra couple $100 and then fuck off everybody. Like nobody really benefits from that. But on the other hand, like there are still like people who reach out to you as well. It's like, hey, I've got a great offer. It's like, you come here, you do this tournament, and it's like they still use the word exposure. And I'm like, no, like there's no need for exposure here anymore. And they definitely do try to take advantage of you. A company like DreamHack or ESL, I don't see it at all. If anything, I feel like they're being very good to us. But could it be even better? Absolutely. And then we're not even necessarily talking about more money. We're like, no, maybe slightly better, like less long days and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, I was going to ask Mana, but I mean, you're playing one series or for the days, aren't you? So it's all right, I suppose.
Yeah, it's DreamHack offline is the marathon. It's like when you have to play from the very beginning, you need to play like 3 group stages in one day. You start at like 11 or something, and then you go to the first group stage, and it can go to like 10, 11 p.m.
Damn.
It's a hard one, but
Mhm.
if you survive the first stage of the DreamHack, at least that's how it was in the past, then you're fine in the later stages because that's much more doable, like 2 series in a day, 2 best of 5s or whatever. But the first day is the toughest one. I'm not sure if it will still be the same in the new format once we go to offlines, but that's what it was in the past.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes, I suppose. And shout out to Zalbegarden, actually. We just showed the art on the stream just then, and it actually looked fantastic. So, yeah, I'm surprised it didn't get shown. There you go. Okay, final question then, as we head over to Alessandra, who asks, it's been said that there is too much StarCraft now. Wardy, how do you defend yourself? Joking. I very much like the vibrant community we have and the Junior Alpha X tournaments. Who do you think is the potential Reina or Clem that can't yet play in big tournaments because they are too young? I guess a lot of people would have said Max Packs before, right? But
Yeah.
He's
Max
Yeah, he can play now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a
The-
couple, right? There's a couple very good 13-year-old kids in Europe. Like Wannabe Beyond, horrible nickname, but great kid from Belarus, like 5.7, 5.8k Terran. There is young Yakov from Russia. I don't know how old he is, but that kid is really freaking good, like a high Grandmaster League player as well. Of course, Arocfire from French. That kid is getting really good. But they're like 13, 14, and I'm like, no, like that's so sad because they have to wait 2 more years until they
Yeah.
can participate. But yeah, there are multiple almost 6k MMR players in Europe of guys that are not even 16 years old, and I think that's incredibly exciting.
Anyone have thoughts?
It's I don't think there's somebody who's like had like that crazy run that Reino or Clem have had when they were super young. Like Reino got to like renovate for Valencia that one time, right? And Clem qualified for like a WCS event when he wasn't meant to play in the qualifier. So I feel like those were things that happened that kind of brought those players to attention. But then we weren't also like from there like expect them to become like the next great thing instantly. So we just don't really. I don't know if we really have a player who's like Reino or Clem sort of storyline level just now. But like, it's very possible that in the next year or so, someone does start popping up again.
Yeah, but I mean, like, we're talking about like Raynor Clem when they were 15, right? And that's when we thought, like, I know that Raynor had like a good run when he was like 12 or 13, that one DreamHack, but then he had to wait a long time. But if you see how good these 13-year-old kids are right now, imagine how good they can be when they're 15, right? Like that could be insane.
I'm totally with you.
Mana, do you have any more Mana Slayers on the radar yet, or?
I think a proper shout out to Max is definitely needed. I think he's becoming a much tougher competitor now. I don't think like he can still beat the Showtimes, and if you can beat Showtime, then you mean you're in a very good track. I keep losing to him, not every single game, but there are games where he will just beat me with a cannon rush 2 times in a row, 3 times in a row, and like, what am I supposed to do? But there are the standard games where I will just beat him no problem. But then there are standard games where he will beat me too in a game that where I thought I had an advantage. So I think MaxPax is to be looked out for. I hope he will stay passionate about StarCraft and that he will practice it to become a better player, because I see some potential in him.
Fantastic. And with that, ending on MaxPax, we are done. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. Of course, we're going to have shout outs here and kind of final things on where to find people. Rotterdam, starting with yourself. God, it's been a lot of fun. Where do we find you, Rotterdam?
Twitch.tv/Rotterdam08. I'll say hi in the chat, and stream a lot of StarCraft, stream a little bit of poker every now and then. Poker goes horrible. StarCraft is going better, so I hope that you guys are excited to see me in some Wardy events in the future, because Wardy, I'm coming, okay?
Wardy, is poker going as well for you as it is for Rotterdam?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. It's actually incredible. Like, I feel like I watch Roddy and his look transfers to my screen, and I'm like, that's actually incredible. Like, I thought Roddy was the most unlucky guy. And then something happens to me, I'm like, God damn it. And then something happens to Roddy, I'm like, we just both suck. Like, we're just not lucky people. Like, we've got all our luck going in, like, our stream and our lives, just not in poker. So, yeah.
Where can we find you, Roddy? Sorry, Wardy even. Sorry.
So, yeah, I want to shout out to Kylaris. I really think your hosting came a long way from the start of the show to the end, you know? Like, it was a real trajectory of, like, you know, success. No, I'm actually gonna cast in like 13 minutes, so come watch European League. Lots of StarCraft. I cast all the time because DreamHack's not on now, so yeah, come have a watch. It's gonna be fun on my Twitch channel. And type in Wardy. Random amount of eyes. You won't find it, then you will.
Wardy, I see that you don't follow the Pylon Show on Twitter.
I don't follow a lot of people on Twitter, to be honest. Like, I took a really big step back from social media, and it might not seem like that because I still go on and whine a bit, but like, I really took like a massive attempt to like step away from social media for my mental health. So I don't do a lot on Twitter. Like, I actually read it still too much, but I like really try not to like talk and like do like I try not to get involved on social media.
Twitter sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that there's a lot of fakers on social media right now, and that's why
absolutely.
I don't. Yeah, it's awful,
Absolutely.
right? Anyway. Mana, final shouts. Where can we find you?
Yeah, thanks guys for being here. I think it was fun. I enjoyed my stay. It feels like it's been less than 3 hours, but it's been 3 hours, and it was a lot of fun. You can find me on Twitter, liquid_mana, shown on screen, and on Twitch, liquidmana, without any underscores or whatever. I'll be playing in the Wardy tournament later on today at 6 p.m., so you can tune in to his stream or my stream on Twitch TV/liquidmana as well. I'll probably be streaming it too. Not sure yet, but probably. Yeah, thanks for a good fun couple of hours.
Who are you playing first, Mana?
I have no idea.
Oh. Yeah, probably someone who's done pretty well against Mana lately.
He's playing against Goblin first.
Oh, Goblin recently, like he's peaking 6.7k MMR. Wow, Mana, how do you feel going into the series knowing you're a 500 MMR underdog?
Yeah, well, maybe I can finally take a series of Goblin. You know, it's been a while.
Just roll
Nah.
into the tournament, Waddy. We'll come with you.
Good luck, mate.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me. A pleasure. Everybody been such a good sport, and it's been a great episode. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for being alongside me here as well, doing this weird hosty thing. Not done it too much. So there you go. That's where you can find me, apparently, as well as Instagram/KyleAris, because Instagram's where it's at and Twitter is not. That is it for
I agree.
episode 106. We shall actually, I'm doing some PUBG shows tomorrow, but nobody cares about that.
I'll be watching, James. I always watch. Yeah. I'm taking
all right.
notes. I'm sitting at home with a notebook. I'm like, man, look at that intro. Because, like, you know, obviously we all try to grow in life. And have I been happy and complacent as a StarCraft 2 caster, commentator, streamer for the last 10 years? Yes. But do I want to live the life that Kalaris is living? Like a boss in Poland with a mansion. I see a big screen TV. I have seen at least one girlfriend walk by, but I don't know how many others are out there.
Three.
So James, I'm taking notes. I watch everything you do.
All right. Well, you can have a drive in the M2 competition when you come over for Katowice.
Exactly.
All right, I'm done. We're done. We'll see you next time for more Pylon Show, and Artosis, your favorite host, will be back. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.